Hello friends and welcome back to Six Invitational 2023. Our final day of playoffs is about to begin and we kick it all off with a classic NAVEU. OXG versus Wolves is where we head to. For our first best of 3 out of the 4 we have in store for you today at playoffs. I'm Milos the Medic, your host. With me on the analyst desk on the command center. Please salute your commanders of Mandy and James. Come back again. At ease.
Oh, God.
Here we are. Very regimented here.
It's the first time I've ever done that before. I'll take it. We can intro the desk every time like that. I'll salute these
struck
guys.
Me as a military man. OXG versus Wolves in the band, maybe. OXG versus Wolves is where we turn our attention to. We're going to start with laying things down for this game because, first of all, these two teams made it into the upper bracket where a lot of people would not have expected these two to be in this position. So it's great, right? Breaking expectations. 2, you move on to the upper bracket final, as you mentioned, James, in our pre-show, which is massive. You're 1 game away from making it to the grand final. So what else is there? Because they rarely play against one another, too.
Oh, yeah. It's just such an exciting game to me. It's a classic NAVEU clash. Oxygen, I think, have really exceeded expectations this tournament. I know that those guys, especially Foxay, always will hype themselves up and say that they can be tournament favorites going in. But the reality is that Oxygen's had a bit of a downward spiral this year. They made, if I'm not wrong, so they made SI and then top 4 in Charlotte, top 12 in Berlin, didn't qualify for Jönköping after the move with Laxing. And looking at the end of the year, there was cause for concern for Oxygen's campaign coming into SI because even though they were in the top 10 teams to qualify, there were a lot of doubts cast over them. And I feel like they've dispelled a lot of those doubts. They've showed a lot of raw talent in this event.
Pretty exciting though, Oxygen. I think that overall, this roster, especially with their current lineup, has a really, really strong front line. And I think as a result, it's really propelled them through the tournament. I think that the structure of this team has a great flow to it, especially against a lot of these other SI teams who have really tried to take their time to figure out the meta. I'm going to jump that when I talk about Wolves a little bit for a moment there. But yeah, I think Oxygen are one of those teams that they figured out their flow pretty quickly. And I think it's made them really work well with the current meta.
All right, seems like things have worked out well despite the changes. I mean, losing Laxing on the team is a big deal, man. It's been around forever in competition. So yeah, this sort of just accoladed man. It's a big hit.
It's true, but I think for Oxygen, it's a case of they're really looking at young up-and-coming talent and putting them on the forefront. You know, Newers has been on the team for nearly a year now, and he is the top-rated player in the entire of the Six Invitational so far. He has been nuts. He's been always on the forefront of the fragging capability for his team. He actually has the highest kills per round of any player in the tournament, and he's nuts on the openings.
Now, Wolves are, of course, their opponents from Europe, and they've had also a tumultuous year, but look at them here. Difficulties in group stage seem to have course corrected once they got into playoffs, and it's working out fine. You wanted to touch more on the squad and what they've done, so Mandy, what do you got to say?
Yeah, for sure. I think Wolves, they went through a bit of adversity through the beginning of the group stage. I chatted to Helby, we had some breakfast together at some point, and he was saying that the team just found it a little tricky to adapt to the new meta. I think that was the interview that NJR had a little bit earlier said it. You either have Solace meta or you don't have Solace in the game, and then you have to play with it. You use Solace to do some playmaking, to have informed mid-rounds, that kind of thing. I think that Wolves really struggled to get into that workflow because it's quite different to their previous workflow, and as a result, they've taken a little bit of time to warm up in this SI run. But now there was so many emotions that went into that game where they qualified for the main stage. Rise in particular was really feeling it when he got there. And yeah, it's really exciting to see them run it through the upper bracket.
Yeah, for me, my heart really goes out to Wolves. I really resonate with particularly Rise, his position, the oldest player in the tournament, you know, the only guy over 30 actually competing in the server here, which is pretty old for an esports player. And man, he has been just fighting for years, right? I'm pretty sure this is his 4th SI, and every single time he has failed to make it to the main stage event. Now he's finally qualified, but will he stay alive in the tournament long enough to be a serious contender? It remains to be seen.
So, squad in total taking time to warm up. We see them now. Bibu's had some pop-off moments. Rise has had those moments, but P4, we've seen him in the last days also just finally get back into it. The young gunners took also a bit of time to warm up into it.
Yeah, I think so. I think overall, yeah, like I said, Wolves just took a while to feel their workflow in this tournament. I think now that they've got it and they're feeling good mentally, what is going on? Is Mowgli the only person on the Wolves desk at the moment? Okay, team synergy, come on, who is present there? But yeah, I think it took them
He's up here grinding, it's 4 in the morning.
Okay, there we go. There's the rest of Wolves. Thank you, production.
And now Rise is yelling at him. Come on.
And now Mowgli's the other guy in the background.
Oh, well.
They're calling him over. They're like, Mowgli, come on. Enough T-Hunt. Get over here. Talk to us. Oh, so funny. Yeah, Wolves are a really great team. They have a very like family-like culture. They really spend a lot of time with each other. Even out of the server as well. They like gymming together. They go out a lot. It's really nice to spend time with them and get to know this team. I just think that, yeah, it really transfers over into the game as well. Their workflow is really, really fantastic at the moment.
Our map bans are live. As you see, Chalet has been picked first by Wolves. Start off on defense. Oregon, picked by OXG. They start on the attack. And finally, Clubhouse, our decider. James, what do you think about this map?
Well, I just want to firstly preface this by saying Oxygen are a team that we haven't, Maddie, necessarily worked most of their games so far. But the thing that really stands out about Oxygen is that they have a huge map pool. Over their games so far, there's 7 games, they have picked a different map every single time. And one of the times, if you count the unplayed deciders, they've had 8 different maps in their pool this tournament. The only one they don't play is Villa. And as you can see, they have banned that out. Probably a good move. Wolves are on a 5-map winning streak on that map. And it does leave us with Chalet, Oregon, and Clubhouse.
I think in comparison, though, Wolves have a much smaller map pool, right? They pretty much always permaban out Border and Theme Park straight away. They've done that for the past pretty much 4 vetoes in a row, no, even 5 vetoes in a row, essentially, right? And so they're very, very vulnerable to Oxygen having counter-picked against them, picking out one of their weaknesses. And I think overall, yeah, Oxygen, they're looking pretty good coming out of the veto.
All right. Who do you feel take this series? Remember, both of these teams are guaranteed the main stage, but the difference is who is one step closer to the final.
That's a really hard call. I think this is going to be a battle of the opening picks. It's going to be Newers versus Mowgli, who are the best opening kill players in the game. I think it's going to be a frag fest. I think it's going to be really tight. I'm going to go with Wolves. I just really feel like Wolves are finally finding their stride. Oxygen, I don't want to underestimate because they've had some really good games. And they've picked Oregon, which they only narrowly beat Eminem against, 8-7. And so it's not even like that's a convincing result there. I think Oxygen are looking to perhaps pry on some of the weaknesses of Wolves because Wolves haven't actually won Oregon so far in the tournament. To me, I think this is going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a very hectic one. But there's just something, I can't really explain it. There's something that makes me think it's going to be Wolves.
I'm the other way. I think Oxygen are going to take it for actually pretty much the opposite reason. I think if you're going into a BO3 and you're comfortable with picking an opponent's weakness, even though it might not be your strength, you're comfortable with being adaptable, you're comfortable with doing things that you wouldn't normally do, in my opinion, that's a sign of strength and maturity. And I think as a result, Oxygen, in my opinion, have the right philosophy going into the BO3.
It really depends how quickly both of these teams warm up from what we've seen so far in the groups and the playoffs. Thank you very much, James and Mandy, for the pre-show and for our pre-game. Our casters are ready. Blue and Stokes, take it away, gents.
Thank you very much, Milos. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final day here before we move into the playoff stage and get ourselves into the main arena come Friday morning. It's time to get ready for our first matchup of the day as we have Oxygen going up against the European Wolves here in our first best of 3. Bound to be a battle for the ages as far as I'm aware. Oxygen already able to knock down one of the European teams earlier on in a 2-0 fashion, but didn't necessarily play out that way. Had to go the full distance to get the result out of that one. I'm imagining this match will be somewhat similar. Stokes, what are your thoughts on things as we get ready to jump into it?
Well, first things first, good morning, John. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Hanging in there? Me too, man. And it seems like we're going to be going to Chalet, snowy-capped mountains here this morning, and a pretty equal bout, I would say. 2 teams that have been on the rise, especially this player right here, Newers for Oxygen, but Wolves bouncing back in a considerable way here. The Six Invitational from what we saw at Jönköping, where they were looking quite dominant and ended up dropping off later on into the stages of the tournament. Here at the Six Invitational, though, they're looking primed and ready for the main stage. Just have one more North American team to try and slip past, but the same could be said about Oxygen. The squad have always been solid up against European teams, John, and I think especially with this newfound style that they've been working with over the last couple of months, this could be the time for them.
We're going to have to see, of course, if it will all come to blows over the next few moments. Chalet is the first map up on the docket, so expect a lot of individual play to dictate things in the early round. And once again, those big clutches potentially to come out from both of these teams and determine the outcome from that. Oxygen have been on point so far this event. It's a good thing, too. Oxygen have had a very unfortunate storyline going back years and years now to previous SIs and even previous majors. This team has always seemed to have the potential for international success, but have never really been able to make it click, never really been able to push it to a deeper point in a tournament. This year may finally be that year for this team that they are able to push things to the limit, get themselves into a near final position, and maybe just go all the way. We'll have to see if all that will be true when we get ourselves into this series in just a few minutes.
Well, with Chalet in mind, let's start looking into how this series could potentially be starting off here. We can dive into the Wolves side of things. Their offensive perspective, not looking too hot right now. Win rate of 43.7%, but their defense, 53.96. So definitely picking things up when it comes to the defensive end, but that seems to be the meta right now. All of our maps trending towards defensive favor. So might be something that we could see be exploitative of Oxygen down the line, because their offense sitting at a 51.7 and defense sitting at a 57%. So favored more on both sides for Oxygen coming into it, but that's the stats. Stats really don't mean things. Winning games means things, and well, I have to see who can win it here. It's going to be Oxygen versus Wolves on Chalet. Let's get into things. You guys think that Wolves are going to take this 55% to 45. So let's see what these bans are going to be. Offense first off here. Wolves got to get somebody out. They're thinking about it hard. I don't know what it's going to be, John. Everybody's been throwing different things around here on Chalet, and that's why I kind of kept the door open. It's going to be 0, and they're going to be removing the cam worker.
Zero making perfect sense as far as a ban is concerned, especially from the Wolves' perspective. Oxygen have been known to use Zero quite a bit on maps like this, as well as Bank, where you have those high vaulted ceilings you could potentially get those cameras up into and get plenty of information. Equivalent to almost like a default cam for the defenders, if it obviously does not go noticed by the roam game, in this case the Wolves. Yana is the next one. Oxygen picking this one. This has been the constant pick for entry for many teams, including Oxygen themselves. They're perfectly fine to work without that. However, moving over to the defender bans, we have a Zombie up on the docket first, as once again, just that individual play that she can lean herself into when she's allowed to be left into the pool is going to be way too powerful to deal with, so it could be knocked out. And Wolves with an interesting one. We've been seeing a lot of Capcan play at this event specifically, and specifically on this map, having pretty good effectiveness alongside other operators, like, of course, those Frost mats too. So makes pretty good sense to ultimately ban things out here, just so the attackers don't have to worry about getting tripped up by that in like a sub 20-second execute or something like that.
Definitely still going to have to worry about those frost mats, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Chalet after all, right?
Yeah, right. You definitely got to look for that on the windows. A little key note here, though. Mowgli and Newers are the two in these two squads that play Yana the most. So offensive side, they're going to have to try and lean on other ops, as everybody has been favoring Yana for some time. She's just so solid with the grenades, ARX, as well as her primary utility in the Gemini clone. So looks like Newers is going to move on over to the Ash. Wolves is going to head towards the Sky. We're going to be starting things off in Office, the best bomb site currently we have to offer in Chalet. And P4 will be picking up Solus.
We'll see here for Oxygen as the repicks come in. Just some slight adjustments for the most part, nothing earth-shattering. The defense, quite a bit of a utility set piece, though, coming in for them, and the fact that we're going to see Echo brought out 4 rides right in round number 1 here. A lot of Echo coming back into this event. The last one as well, back over in Jönköping, is where we really started to see him start to skyrocket his way back into the meta, despite the nerfs that had been placed onto him almost like a year or 2 ago at this point here that kind of bumped him out of the meta. Teams are starting to find much more usefulness for him overall throughout 2022, and it's all come to bear here now. He's synced himself in as just a usual part of quite a few defensive rotations when you need that extra bit of utility, when you don't have full confidence that you may be able to hold on to the frontline portion of the site. And as a result, those Echo drones end up being very useful utility, of course, for late run clutch potential, but also as a, for some teams at least, just using them as a little defensive drones to roam around the map with. They end up being pretty nice for that too.
Oh, P4 keeping track of the info clear there. As you said, Echo, quite the useful operator. You can see those Yokai drones rolling around right now for Rise, trying to assist, and a little inspiration, especially from Deepak on Koi, formerly Rogue, when they went and won the Berlin Major. A lot of play coming from Echo there. Deepak, one of the best in the business when it comes down to it on that op. See if Rise can channel some of that. I'm going to get another drone here, and this is just the power of Solus. You can hinder the drone game so much. Make it to where the later info game really won't work out for you. That's why we've been seeing so much Dogobi play on top of all of this, is you always just drop one of those logic bombs. It's a necessity, or just as an assist for your drones. You do still have those past Solus, trying to eliminate as many of those as you can. Practically the Grim Reaper of your entire info game. Oxygen splitting the map in half now. Sweater's got the position on blue stairs. They've been able to work through library. Have the angles down low so Wolves can't rotate back through. So it's going to be down to the utility to try and bunker bust a lot of these forward positions.
Oxygen still prioritizing the drone game at this point here, coming down to that final minute. Looking to try and figure out the last bits of this setup here before really committing themselves to the swing and potentially starting to lose some of their own players. You can see the Rotero drone hopefully going to expose the position of the player behind Piano. And it will indeed work, but does not get them the first kill necessarily. Mowgli strikes back against Newers. Two players will just trade out against each other immediately, bringing us down to a 4v4. Activates Wolves' potential on the aggressive side of this defensive hold, too. They swing back out. They're going to double down on the Piano play here. That's caused quite a bit of hesitation for Oxygen, who's running out of time to make this play work now.
A logic bomb out here for Vert. Here's one down low, but has to try and pressure Solarium. Look at the time. Only 10 seconds remaining. Nades out, but it's caught up with the one my disc. It's going to hold the door for Sweater. Stuck now, has the angle, but it's challenged out. The Wolves, they shut it down. The planner on the ground. Too many bodies to try and get through, and the Wolves will be able to pick up the first round.
The talk begins here. Bright and early in the morning, as far as we're concerned anyway. 10 a.m. is pretty early. So
It's gamer time.
Yeah, it's gamer early. So we'll get ourselves into round 2 here. As the Wolves immediately heat things up by closing down on round 1. Oxygen, unfortunately, just not enough control leading into the end of it. You can see Vert trying to make that last second play. If we'd seen that expose itself about 10 to 15 seconds ago, it might have been able to work something, but unfortunately, Oxygen kind of just grasping at straws there to make their execute work, so is not able to make their way in. Ultimately, and Wolves don't have much of an issue locking things down for round number 1. Moving into the second one, we'll just head directly below where they just defended over into the kitchen and dining room.
Almost comical that Newers and Mowgli traded outright. First interaction between people for a gunfight, and they instantaneously trade. Both teams kind of slow down past that, kind of shuck and jive for positioning. Oxygen finally able to try and find some place to put a plant down, but the Wolves have way too many crosses and too much utility played in for Master. And Oxygen, no real way to try and deal with that. No real teeth to the push into Piano. That was a real big issue. Can't get the like forceful picks to push the Wolves back. So we'll see if they can potentially work that in now, especially with the Wolves having some players up towards Master. Potential here for the roam clear to get some big kills, especially if they can potentially get like a cutoff on the trophy side. Try and make it where the hops down through Solarium aren't nearly as safe.
Oxygen just to slowly open up map control again for themselves in the beginning of the round. Should be able to get the clearance. Obviously, it's not going to be the direct sight. Over towards Office a bit more easily this time, but that doesn't mean the Wolves are going to give it over for free. They still have at least a little bit of counter presence established. As we can see, Mowgli trying to potentially line himself up for an early pick now. No one from Oxygen obviously baiting into the ego door this early on. So I don't think really to be claimed by him or anyone else on the defense, but that's soon going to change. Like we talked about here, quick opening of the office wall will prompt the removal of Mowgli and potentially a few other members of the Wolves too. We can already see them kind of peeling things back a bit. Rise playing behind the alibi clone, gets the intel from it, has the tracker, but not with enough confidence to go for the window hop itself. Sits back, keeps himself restrained. Sweater as well here, not going to be able to get anything for that pre-fire. Still Oxygen trying to bait something up for the defenders, and so far, unsuccessful in that respect. P4 will be spotted out by main stairs. They'll know to expect his rotation later in the round as well.
It's too early to show the hand, John. Nobody wants to make the aggressive move just yet. That'll come later. Newers. Does he have it? Thinks he hears him. Heard that adjustment there from Rise as he aimed down sights. Held up in the laundry hallway down here, right outside a big garage. Newers has the cutoff from Wine. A frag grenade, it was. Fantastic spatial awareness there from Newers. Backs him off into big garage. No way for him to get out either. No Oryx. Newers gonna fully rotate out. It's all due to the time. They have to get this top clear going. They need Newers here. Best player in the tournament by far right now. Way less maps being played as of right now too. So, see if he can try and build on top of these blocks. Sweater will get taken down though. 30 seconds remaining. Had that logic bomb going out. They really need some picks.
Wolves with the hop up, and 2 kills will immediately be claimed from that position. Bibu will be unable to escape his bedroom spot, though, as he goes down immediately with the trade coming in from Oxygen. However, Wolves still up on top of the pile due to their trades. Newers left alone, and man, goes flying at the end of the round here as well. Solid defenses so far from the Wolves. Oxygen 0-2 here as they failed to even come close to a successful site entry so far.
Wolves keeping every portion of their building alive there. Even the basement's still active with that nitro cell waiting the solarium stairwell. So very well done. Oxygen relying a lot on Newers' presence right now. That top push just really not coming to bear. You saw him get things set up around the wall, get the thermite dealt with, but having Newers rotate all the way out of the basement as the Nook. They did have that cutoff down there for the Wolves, so would have been more or less a coin flip if he did take that. So understandable from him to try and rotate and assist with the team push, but just nothing really going well for Oxygen on their other entries. You saw Newers try and get some space, but Sweater losing a big fight. Same for Foxay. Same for Vert. Just very quick interactions and no real way for anybody to try and recalibrate, try and recenter themselves and get a push going for Oxygen.
Repicks are in for the most part, just adding in the Ying and swapping over our entry player as well. They did remove a Lion, not getting as much use potentially out of that as they would potentially like to. So we'll see how that is going to line up, as we do still have quite a free-flowing setup for the Wolves. Lots of movement going to be involved in their play here because they extend themselves up from the basement. You can see it, no one's actually in the site right now. Just a player a little bit deeper back in blue. Oxygen gonna pop open Snowmobile, but obviously with the top-down pressure, will not be able to directly go for the close out themselves this early on, although we do have a smoke in position, so we'll see if I'm wrong about that one. A second smoke as well. Where's the follow-through, though, is the big question here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a fake out here. Foxay, how many Candelas did he dump? He dumped 2 of them.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all of his smokes, both of his Candelas. I mean, he also tested to see if there was anything there holding back. I mean, stuff from later on.
It's more just kind of wondering, like, I agree with you, it's a bit of a bait play there, a distraction play, but, like, where's the follow-up even elsewhere on the map is my only other question here. It seems like they just used the utility. They really got nothing for it.
Hey, you're going to have to take that up with Davide Bucci, all right?
So, Oxygen, at least considering trying to make an early play there, it seems, but just not able to justify it.
I guess I'm going to dump half my utility in the site. Watch this.
They hold themselves back. Now we've got Sweater.
There it is. Big swing here for Mowgli. Oxygen trying to work this portion of the building, but again, where's the follow-up? Everybody kind of off on their own thing right now. Newers kind of messing around with sight. We have Sweater outside, Foxay in another angle here. Are they ever going to go back to garage? I'm still just trying to see how this works in. I'm actually very, very curious. Gonna have the Selmas going down. The Mute Jammer really can't deal with that anymore. It's been EMP'd and it'll be broken up with the Selma. Newers gonna be able to take the fights now. Rise might be stuck between a rock and a hard place with this West Main player. Has the wrap coming from Dream as well over on the trophy side, but wasting quite a bit of time. Just gonna stand on this. Newers with a nice kill on to Bibu, and this might be what opens things up finally for OXG. Rise with a lot of damage dealt to him, taking the fights back and forth. Now Oxygen, they've got the pressure. The P4's got the wrap. They must have him on drone. Stuns out, taking quite a bit of damage. And on the rotation, they'll get cams very quickly. It's up to Shinka. Where's Mowgli? Is he on site? He is indeed. He's got the backside, actually. What a fantastic position over on the garage side. Gets it down into the 3 versus 3. Wolves keeping it messy. Oxygen constantly forced to try and figure out these algorithms as a team. Candela's here. Foxay shut down. Mowgli, too strong. Infinity Stone for Wolves. Nitro Cell out vertical. He's got to get something going here.
Vertical trying to find the lineup, but he's got 2 players working against him. And the first one that does damage is not even his primary target. Mowgli able to survive, fends off Dream, trying to counter out Mowgli's own angle. Vert now left alone here. No winning way to get himself to the inside of this one. Does finally take care of that blue player, but it's a moot point by the time he gets the frag. Wolves continue to hold on. A 3-0 lead for them as they've a flawless rotation around the map, can return to their initial site as of this 4th round here. We'll see if Oxygen are going to try to call for a pause, but so far, nothing being brought in. There we go. Now the Oxygen timeout is going to come to bear. So let's take a listen and see what's going wrong.
It just comes down to making sure we have enough utility to open the wall and to be able to execute. Like, I think there's so much going on in terms of like everything else trying to clear that we just don't have enough time to actually execute. Like, for example, Mitch knew that they were impacting, but he did it anyway, and then we didn't have any thermites left, right? So we should be just bringing enough utility just to be able to do the defaults at this point, because there's so much chaos and there's not enough cams to watch flanks. So the second is we're using all of our drones to clear, and then we don't have enough time to like watch the flanks and execute. So we got to do one or the other. We can't do both. Okay? And our drone economy is pretty ass. So we need to make sure we're having, you know.
Let's get this shit. We got it. In my opinion, I don't want New and Sweater droning for like the rest. Like, set up your guys' drones for flank cams. Like, we just need to be getting in the map, and just once we're in the map, we're able to just trade off of each other.
Yep.
They probably go back to office here. I think we just do a library clear. Like, we know exactly what we need to do for this. So. Yeah.
All right, back into the round we will go.
On the side.
Fox has got the right read. Indeed, we are going back to office for this round here, because Wolves will load themselves into it, like we said, rounding back over to their initial site choice now. So now it's about, as Foxy said, making those adjustments and trying to come out on top this time to try and equalize it at a 3-3 score.
I especially love what he said about the trades. Really seems like that's the best avenue for Oxygen trying to move forward with this, because the Wolves, like we were talking about in that last round, they're keeping things messy. They're making it to where Oxygen has so much to try and process and deal with that it'll make your head spin. And everybody trying to deal with their own little problem at once, right? And when you're in your own little, vacuum, it feels like it's the most important thing in the world, but there's also 4 other people having to deal with a situation quite similar to that. So everybody trying to get things figured out right now. And Oxygen just needing to be a little bit more tight-knit, need to be a little bit more active on the map. We'll see if that changes up with this play from Newers and Sweater.
Oxygen out. We're going to see them try to take some initial map control away here, as they'll start things out in the basement once again just by opening up towards Snowmobile. Doors of the lean in as well, but there's not going to be any challenge from the Wolves side of things. P4 has positioned himself nearby. He's not going to be stupid with his aggression here. Wolves have been Wolves have been very restrained for the most part, but P4, I think, just messing up the angles a little bit there, not realizing that Nors would have actually had a winning shot against him. Nors takes the challenge deeper into blue, despite knowing that P4 had the cross against him. He shuts him out. Pibu finds a second kill. P4 has been dropped, but pretty sure he's going to be recovered in a second here. Sweater's aware of the fact that they're going to want to try and go for him, so attempts to move forward to get at minimum the confirmation, but now he's going to have to look for that second kill as well. If they get it, everything should be fine here. Sweater even finding P4 now. Still leaves that one member of Wolves off on an island on their own. The Echo drone moving through here as well. Potentially trying to prompt Shinka for a peek so he can come in and help his teammate. But Mowgli now backing up, trying to get out of this situation. The Deagle in play here, by the way, as he finally puts down Sweater and brings Oxygen's roster down to only 2.
Oxygen cannot buy a pick here. P4, but mostly Mowgli in the basement, getting away with so much and out scot-free practically. I mean, they give P4 over, but what's that really mean to Wolves when they've got 3 bodies on the ground from Oxygen?
Wolves continue to tick down time now, as they're more than happy with the current status quo, having reduced it to a 2v4. They fully pulled back now. Absolutely no reason for them to continue leaning aggressively unless they know they have a trap set up they can crunch out a member of Oxygen with. Which is exactly what they deployed towards at the beginning of this round here. Dream with the immediate spot of the Echo drone up on top of the ceiling there. Pops that right out of play. and the default along with it. So at least one piece of intel now gone. That should, if memory serves me correctly, be both of the Echo drones now out for Rise on this round. No late round clutch capability, but once again, correct myself, we do actually have still one more remaining. So it looks like he was able to retreat the one he was droning around the basement with, as it never went too close to the oxygen push. Toxic Babes are now going to come out as we've reached 30 seconds, so they can just be chained back to back to back at this point, and will extend throughout the rest of the round timer.
Foxay starts sending the Rotero drones into the piano position. This will force Mowgli back. Damage onto Dream, but he's found a nice little safe space to try and get this down. The Yokai can't get to the ceiling. He can't see him.
No!
He can't stop him. Dream has a chance here. It's going to be a lot heavy lifting, but oh, it's a triple kill here for Mowgli and the Wolves. 4 perfect rounds on the defense.
Oxygen really struggling to get things started yet again at the beginning of the round. The hard commitment in through Snowmobile baited into the 2v1 to start things out. Well, yes, somewhat they're able to trade it back by the time everyone's escaped. They've still been on the losing end of 2 different battles and have put themselves down by 2 additional players there, just making it nigh impossible from the get-go to recover that and make an execute happen all the way upstairs as well.
Yeah, that plant situation would be perfect for Oxygen if they had any man advantage or an equal man count to try and deal with a situation like that, but you know, you're asking for a lot, even with, you know, Foxay still alive potentially there. So it's just very, very poor for Oxygen right now, especially the early rounds. Wolves either able to exploit them via clock or via gunfights like that last round. Oxygen not able to find anything in their arsenal that could potentially give them an advantage.
So as round 5 begins, Oxygen running out of time now to make a serious impact made on this attacking half. True struggles have shown up really in all parts of the round at the end of the day. We've seen some success from them in the earlier phases of it. Good exchanges in the middle for the most part, but then a lot more treacherous problems popping up towards the tail end of it as well. Wolves now with 4 rounds standing tall, going to look to lock in a definitive advantage with round number 5 potentially coming up here unless Oxygen finally gives them a shake and is able to take some early advantage in their own favor that transitions onto the site.
Well, it's been rough here for Oxygen so far, obviously, but has been a couple of positives. I've been able to at least get some info game on the Wolves and get some big kills going here. Just need to try and get that glue. 1 round is all it takes. Just need a spark. But Wolves, they've been rolling so well already. Woke up on the right side of the bed. Oxygen might be the late worm here. It's gonna be Foxay that gets taken down first once again, but a big
Sweater,
trigger from
nice.
Sweater. What a transfer onto Mowgli. 2 big kills, and this is what they've needed. Looks like it's gonna come in round 5.
Shots out from Sweater there just to take care of the Valkyrie camera. This is why the IQ gets brought, to be able to spot out things like that, prevent the counter intel and the defense from working against this attack too heavily. Bibu now prepositioning himself for the swing. Once Oxygen feel the confidence to move around and take piano control. Sweater's a little bit nervous of what still may be hiding on the inside of Office 2, but I believe he's already taken care of that with the 2 picks he found. First time, really in this half, that we're seeing Oxygen get off to quite this good of a start, but no guarantee that they're going to be able to chain it all the way forward just yet. Bibu specifically has that great play potential. Norris, however, spotting him out, going to make him a heck of a lot more passive. P4 is actually doubled down up here, taking up bedroom positioning as well. So Oxygen still with a lot to work past. Still on this extension once more with just over a minute to go now.
Plenty of info games still available to both teams here, as you see Vertical in full use of the Evil Eye on site. P4 still rotating through the basement on this roam game. Wolves, once again, keeping the door open. People gonna try and assist with this. It's the top clear still from Oxygen. A lot of verticality playing into this. Shinka gonna try and get a counter angle. Set a trophy. No potential there for this, but Vertical's actually gonna be over on the trophy, or rather master side. Or try to play this out from Fireplace. Has one downstairs to worry about. Feels it coming up blue. What a shot. P4 down for the count. Now the plant has to come through from Oxygen. 15 seconds remaining.
Noor's immediately with the counter to Bibu's rotation. Shinka holds the Solarium stairs at least, but so far from the actual site now. Can do nothing to stop this plant from going down. Thankfully, he will have some intel coming in from his teammates. There should still be at least one Evil Eyes. We see that red ping going down there, maybe a Val Cam or two as well. That does not guarantee success inside of the clutch for the 1v3. Shinka going to try to move himself forward. There's nothing being presented here. Not even going to expect the pop-up from Dream.
One round at a time, we got this.
Heard there at the end of it from the coach on Oxygen's side, though, 1 round at a time. That's how they got to work this back. And with a convincing one like that, they certainly are on the road to recovery, but it's a bit of a lengthy path at this point that they'll have to try and work their way down. Best case scenario is still 2 forward halftime.
Oxygen finally able to get some big pickups early and using the Wolves play style against them. Constantly trying to get in behind Oxygen, but that's worked well when they've had the man advantage. This time around, the shoe's on the other foot. Oxygen able to hold back the rotations on these stairwells. Just wait out Wolves. Wolves constantly thinking, okay, they have to go for a plant, right? I mean, it's 20 seconds. If I'm going to set up for this flank, then I eventually have to do it. Well, Oxygen willing to wait that out. All the way down to practically null timer. But with a fantastic man advantage. And that's the perks of Rainbow Six Siege, baby. You can plan at 0-0 timer.
Indeed it is. Repicks coming in now from Oxygen as well. The Nomad has been swapped in for Dream. Sweater as well will bring over the Flores. Makes sense when you consider the site that we are going to. Flores is going to be incredibly useful here to burn out, especially the position inside of the connector and a few of the other hard points, such as deeper into the library here to just burn out that utility without having to risk a player by directly leaning into those angles, prepping a nade or lifeline or something along those lines. Those Terror drones can take care of it without taking that risk, and as such is oftentimes the key piece of utility for these rounds. This one's going to be no different, with Sweater bringing it to bear.
Wolves with an interesting wrinkle here, one we haven't seen too much this tournament. We're going to have the Thorn coming in to see how these Razor Blooms work out.
Time for a wake.
Definitely be the play up against some of the more aggressive plays that we've seen from Oxygen, specifically for a player like Newers, but that's not really going to help with the position he's at. This is one that's going to shoot right over the top of the library, bookshelf in there, hold the rotation. What a nice little find there from OXG. What? Oh my goodness, you can see Wolves aren't used to dealing with this spot. Newer is so creative with what he's found here.
Nicely found by Newers. Rise as well, slowly getting bullied out from the back library spot here. Nade goes in, actually manages to impact against Rise pretty nicely, but not gonna get the full kill just yet. The pinch is strong enough though, forces him out from the safe spot with the second nade being cooked there. That will take him down. Much stronger showing against this bar take or bar hold from Oxygen. This is down to a 5v2. Oh, the Nitro just barely sneaking off. Unfortunately, not in the right spot there, so no damage claim. This little fadeaway that comes in. Mowgli actually gonna take down Dream, believe it or not, with the Razor Bloom. That's one of the first times I've seen that actually get a full-on kill in pro play. Works out there, but Foxy still quickly cleans up the round after that one as they take command of a second here to slowly bring things back to a much more palatable scoreline at halftime.
I said I got one, trust.
Focus up on defense.
We got this shit. Let's go.
Well, Newers definitely had one because there was no reaction. P4 didn't even expect it to happen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's one of those angles where you die to it, you watch the kill cam, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that.
Write that down, write that down.
Exactly, exactly. So, Oxygen now shifting gears over to the defensive side, and they're immediately going to toss us into Kitchen.
So Kitchen will start things out for this roster. Very similar showing from Oxygen in terms of their operator picks for the round two. Maestro out from Dream. Decent amount of utility mitigation. And of course, the Frost, because as we talked about earlier, it's Chalet, so it just kind of goes with the territory here. Matches the climate, if you will. Wolves, in the meanwhile, going to give us the expected lineup. They are not going to be using the Flores here, so will not be bringing that extra capability to knock out insight utility that we were talking about at the beginning of the last round. Instead, they'll go for the Nomad, mainly just for flank watch on her utility. IQ as well to spot out some of this defender-sided play. We do have the Valkyrie cams in for Sweater, so mainly going to be used to try and find those out. on top of getting the early info on locations of things like magnets and whatnot, so that when they dump utility in, they do have the 2 smokes as well as 3 flashes for Bibu that can hopefully bleed those out correctly or just avoid those magnets entirely.
Well, Wolves going to try and pressure the basement here, and he's from the snowmobile side. P4 finding out a lot of the setup here on the farther side of the map, though, via the IQ scanner. Knows the Valkyries in play, especially. They're going to try and wrap themselves around this other portion of the building, though, starting things off over on the library side. But Vert will be here to try and answer the call.
P4 continues to get free drone intel, giving him all the information in terms of what the setup looks like, but he's missed a critical piece, not actually droning out vertical as far as I'm aware. So he currently is going to be a bit of a snake in the grass to some extent, quite literally here as he's hiding in the plants. Indeed, they did not drone him, so there we go. First pick is free, nearly gets the second against Rise. Thankfully, he's given enough time to react and find the trade out. So it's not the end of the world here for Wolves at the beginning of the round, but certainly not the way they would have liked to start things out either.
Well, it's a 4 versus 4. Rise quite low on HP, but Zofia being a 3 armor now, definitely helping him out a bit with those body shots. Well, keep a little bit more HP there for himself. Oxygen have slowed things down. Very little time remains for the Wolves here. Need to start trying to get this pressure upstairs, get this wall open, find a home for this case. 1 nitro cell resides for Sweater. No smokes in play, but they have the evil eyes and a heck of a lot of impacts. Could see a Pokeball kill here, or some Poke denies. To see. Sheik is going to put it down. Concussions out. First one won't land, second one won't either. That's going to break it up. Have more, we do indeed. Have more, but Foxay also still has 1. Is it going to land? Line us up, Foxay. And he's got it. Oh, he doesn't have the kill, though. P4 pressures immediately after, but I still think that this may shut down the push.
It's certainly going to limit the confidence from the rest of Wolves as they get ready to move in, but they've also been able to retake the player advantage here with the pick they just found. So, lineup is established for Dream. Panicking a little bit as he backs up. Shinka lines a position. That should prompt the rest of the push to come through here. Noors ready to hold it back, however. Shuts down the first attempt. Nitro goes up from the defense. That stops the plant. Beautifully held here by Auction. A little bit close, but they are still ultimately able to keep their composure and, more importantly, get the important kills needed to shut things down and send us to a 0 timer.
Look at that, bro. I told you stay alive.
We go.
Well, Wolves were definitely early to the show, but Oxygen finally check in 3 rounds in a row. Looking solid, looking spry. Have that coffee in them now. We'll see if they can continue on this reign. We might have a tag timeout coming in here from Wolves. Nope. I have been baited. I've been bamboozled.
So we'll go into round 8 instead. Wolves still with the lead, but Oxygen right on their tail now as they rotate upstairs into a 2nd floor hold. A few change-ups to necessitate this, but for the most part, the lineup is going to remain very similar. Mainly just Noors going over towards the Warden to keep himself in the fight once Wolves dump their utility. And so we'll be able to spot through smokes and flashes, of course, with those smart glasses. The rest of the lineup going to remain very identical. We'll just have a little bit of a different setup this time, obviously, as it'll be mainly horizontally focused, trying to defend the extent of this 2nd floor here.
5 seconds to insertion.
Huge line shift from the Wolves.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Single hard breach. Don't really need too much when it comes to the top floor. Just something to try and get a breach in for the office side. Seldom a team goes Solarium anymore. We saw that initially when Chalet got put into play, but everyone was like, nobody wants to play these Solarium windows. Having to deal with the positions over there, just kind of hard. Have so many options when it comes to attacking things from the south to north avenue. Oh, that might have been it there for Sweater. Sweater's going to go for it, but he's back inside. That's going to mark him, though.
recovered.
He's gonna get away, John. He's not dead yet.
Sweater really skirting the edge of death there for a few seconds. He's like, oh, he just walked past me, and I'm like gonna hop out. Oh, and I missed him again. Like it's just
Just that little hesitation. Just that tiny bit.
Grimacing the whole time he does it, like.
Oh, just like that. I'm feeling him. I'm grimacing here right now for vertical. Oh, once again.
Vert,
we clinch.
He hears the noise.
There it is.
He's got the magnets, though. The insurance policy is in place upstairs. That's probably why he didn't panic too much. That one, though, he's actually lucky he didn't get killed by that one.
Is there 4 over here? Okay, no, it's just P4s too.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I got a little scary there for a second. They were pouring in so quick. So many claymores, though. 4 claymores, and they're all down. So I think that
first I'm moving an inch right now, man. Yeah. He's like, if I do anything, I'm getting shot. So I'm just gonna chill right here where I know it's safe.
Everybody better chill, because if they go for something like Sweater's play again, too, somebody's getting blown up.
Well, in the meanwhile, Wolves have been positioning themselves to start the rest of this push. They're just trying to bully out the Solarium stairs in just a few moments. EE1D is in also to try and lock down those positions for a few seconds. Not a huge amount of corresponding movement to come out from the attackers. Foxe gonna impact that Claymore there. Prevent any run out, or I should say enable any run out action for himself and the rest of his team, although bit of a moot point this late into the round. That will have any action by the front door. Sweater has struck first, but immediately B-boot. He's able to get some revenge there against Foxe. Sweater also to get traded afterwards, giving Wolves back the advantage. Vertical still in this fight, but they're very aware of his position as well. Rushing up, the rappel. Rise is able to trace through it, taking him down also. Only 2 players remaining for the defense now.
Plenty of times for Wolves to work this. Dream and Newers to try and slow it down, though. Newers has been fantastic this whole tournament. Looking to try and tie things up against Wolves. In the clutch, Dream no smokes, just a good gun. And Newers by his side, they'll get the first pick. P4 rotates in. He's got the wrap on him, a big kill onto Dream and the potential to plant. Has the window position, Newers, fantastic when it comes to these peaks. Move across, shifts, has the close angle, but oh, I thought he saw the barrel. P4 able to slip through the cracks, and Wolves take down Oxygen, finally getting their footing again.
So with Oxygen,
he got so lucky on that.
Like I said, that second nade, in my opinion, that's a kill right there.
You're absolutely right, 100%. I have never, Vert better count as lucky stars. It's like the fragmentation literally just like, boop.
Like a stare ate up like 80% of the damage to that or something like that. So
yeah.
By the way, we do have a Wolves timeout. We're gonna take a listen in. Probably gonna listen in with Oxygen though. So let's take a listen.
If we're gonna be down below, the utility needs to be spread out down below and covering the people that are roaming below. Right? Other than that, we stay alive, we win. Okay? So just make sure we're not overthinking it, nothing extra. We just need to make sure we have the numbers when they go to execute. Because notice how they're not really giving us picks. They're kind of setting up, they're droning out, waiting to execute. So we got this, guys. Focus up. You've been down for way worse. 2 more rounds.
Let's go to the basement. I think a Legion would be like really good for the basement. Next time we go master.
Should I go to the Warden?
All right, well here we go into it. This attack break is now closed out. Wolves discussing what they needed to discuss after a close victory there. Has resealed their lead back up to a 3-5 advantage. 2 rounds to go for them, but at the same 2 to tie it for Oxygen. You heard Foxe talking about it there. We're heading into the basement for round number 9 to see if they can find defensive results here. The Cade has been brought to reinforce the hatchwork up on top, in addition to potentially one of the walls also. Going over, of course, out towards Snowmobile probably is where we're going to see that position towards. Away from that, though, usual assortment of a defensive lineup here. Norris is still keeping the ward in play for the site fight. The Legion, as Foxe was discussing, has now been swapped in. And aside from that, everything stays the same.
And I'm loving how the Oxygen lineup is kind of plugging in with the Wolves here, right? We got a lot of utility across the board, and the interactions are going to be quite fun, especially because we have that Kaid in play. The Thatcher's here to counter that out. Like the Flores pick, we're going to move on over to the IQ. This could help with some certain things, especially the Legion mines, but it's not going to be as useful as it once was, as there's no Valkyrie or Echo in play. But past that, though, Wolves guaranteeing that a lot of the utility on site will be destroyed. So the breaching rounds there for Mowgli, and the stuns in for P4 to try and free up any of those Wamai discs.
Quick pop going to happen over here at the snowmobile garage. Not really anything the Cade can do to prevent it with the Thatcher in play. So there we go. Quick boom at only 30 seconds into the round here, as Wolves have already opened up an execute option for themselves. Do need to clear out, of course, the rest of the extension and potentially make sure that the options are still in play for the rest of Oxygen to continue holding things out here. It's actually pretty light in terms of the extension that we have from Oxygen across the map. They do not seem to have a heck of a lot of presence outside of the basement right now, so it's just a matter of Rise figuring that out. Vertical is the main, and I believe really only target in that area that needs to be hunted down here, so he's looking to cause some problems roaming about on the Legion. Noors as well, though, now going to ascend the staircase and potentially try to help out a little bit with Vertical's position.
You can hear the drones rolling around Vertical's feet. Able to collect the one, but obviously the Nori is now very lucky. There's a concrete wall between those two, isn't he? Unable to make the connections. You can see Noors trying to spam the default angles downstairs. This is a sign of a long-time Siege player. Always just got to try those defaults, John. You never know when you're just going to smack somebody in the head. We saw that with Alamau yesterday on G2 on Bank. Quickly deciding Dark Zero's fate in one foul swoop. Sometimes all it takes is a sweep of the mouse and you send somebody home. That might be the same fate here as Oxygen stepping up now inside of Kitchen. Looking to try and apply the pressure to Wolves here inside of Fireplace. It's going to force Shinka off. Have one player still in the likes of P4 in Bar. Kind of solid positioning wrapped around the garage area. A lot of Oxygen defaulting out, trying to play back into the setup on the wine side. Two stacked inside of blue. They have that pressure there from Mowgli as well. He's going to await the swing and try and pressure things out, try and prevent them from getting utility down onto the position like the trash can, if that's what they so choose to go for a plant. But they do have smokes on Shinka, so could potentially be that angle as well.
Shinka going for the plant. Noors as well to respond, however, inside of this plant attempt. Another one picked up quickly here by Oxygen as they are more than ready for the challenge this time. Mowgli trying to make up the difference here with the blue wrap, but it's just not finding the effective hold at all. A flawless pickup from Oxygen as they refuse to give up. Continue the fight now. It's round number 4 picked up by them. One more, and we're at a tie game.
The case open and the beef.
Oh, maybe he tried to plant in your smoke box.
Maybe.
And then he ran up.
I think we go Kitchen here.
I agree with the kitchen.
They know you're probably gonna try and play below sweater, so.
Yo, Nuke, can you put a frost on mud? The mud jump in?
All the way over there. I might. If you really want me to, I can.
I might.
I mean, at least he's being honest.
He's like, I don't know, it's a good idea. Like, it's basically what he just said, right?
Don't make promises you can't keep, John, all right? Noors is like, I think Noors' first idea was like, well, how the hell am I gonna kill him if he hops into me? Like, you want me to barrel my way back in mud and
all the way over there?
man, act like he had to walk. I mean, he really does have to walk across the whole house. That was so funny. I was about to make a joke about walking out of your bedroom, but he really does. He really does have to walk across the whole damn house to get there. He's gonna put one inside a trophy. I think he's gonna keep the other one. Do we have one in mud? Do we have one over there?
There's no way.
Oh, he did.
We did it? Oh wow, he snuck over there.
He listened to Daddy Fox say.
He went right for that.
Yeah, he was like, all right, fine, whatever.
Take care of it now.
I hate doing chores.
Fine, Mom.
Yes, exactly.
So we've got Wolves out on the map. We'll see if that mud frost trap leads to any success. Foxy's gonna look like a mad genius if it gets a kill right now.
Airbrain schemes.
Well, we'll see as the Wolves, for the most part, are going to be avoiding that, though. Just clearing things out over by Library first. Taking a nice, slow approach to that as well. So don't expect any immediate action. Oxygen also seems to have a pretty restrained hold at the moment here. Just setting up for bunker.
Whoa, hey. Whoa. Big nitro cell early.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, just very premature.
What was that even thrown at? Like,
I don't know. I think he threw it at a drone, honestly. I think he thought somebody was backing up the drone from Wolves there, potentially.
Probably about 5 to 10 seconds off on that one, unfortunately, if it was attempting to get Mowgli on his way out from Library. Probably a pre-place, I believe, right there, because we didn't really see any Auction members hiding around that part of the map, so maybe they were just trying to do that on timing.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that P4 saw the Valkyrie camera that they maybe pre-placed, and they just told him where it was, so he just tried to time it A little unfortunate there, obviously.
Doesn't work out, but hey, at least trying to make that pre-place attempt. Can't fault them for trying it. It's obviously a bit of a different way to use the Nitro Cell than we usually see it chucked out as just an impromptu play. Unfortunately, it was the only one they had, however. It's 3 stacks of impacts aside from that, and the single bulletproof for Newers. So we're going to see these impacts still can find decent impact. That's what we're about to see right now. So they attempt to work their way outside of this hard breach. One has been countered out, another one going to go down below. That should prevent the second opening. I believe they just sniped out that Rotero drone as well. So good pick if indeed that was found right there to prevent Wolves' utility from being successful. Oh, and that's a very awkward breach. How do we get a better picture of that?
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah,
we cannot get in kitchen, and Mowgli is...
Oh my god, it actually got one! Oh, it actually worked!
Oh, Foxy.
It didn't kill him, but it worked.
You beautiful, beautiful man.
Sam was still correct. How's he actually going to get the confirmation? That was the big problem with that there. But
I mean, but now here's the other thing, and this is what Oxygen would say. But John, Mowgli now can't fight. That's
True.
the thing.
Yeah.
He's gonna die instantaneously.
And really, no one can fight because of that breach in dining room right now.
Yeah.
So things are really awkward for the Wolves. Oxygen countering their opponents, mainly just on the strategy alone for the most part here. The gunplay is of minimal importance so far on this round. That's going to start to change, though, over the next few seconds. Bibu with the pickup. Foxy with a nice little pixel lean in here. Makes quick work of Mowgli. P4
no way.
wrapping back up those stairs.
No way.
Might make up the difference. The plant, it's actually going down on the ground here. Dream with the first response kill on the post plant equalizes us into a 2v2. Quickly backing up, though. He's got to be careful. Got picked here previously. Sweater on the ramp as well. Finds another pickup as Rise tries to rotate back down to the depths of the basement. Bibu now left alone in the 1v2. Dream already working on the counter defuse. Sweater dropped down. No intel as to where Bibu is, but it doesn't matter. Sweater gets the double anyway, and Oxygen complete the comeback now to tie us up at 5-all.
Holy shit, Sweater.
Good shit, Sweater.
Let's go, Mowgli. Help your fucking team.
Redeemer, he was trying to talk. Just
Help your
pure
help your team.
pure passion out of the coach there. Love to see it. I think we're nope. It's the mic.
Cameras are throwing you off.
Yeah, it's the cameras being down and her mic being down because that's usually the telltale sign, man. But some of these coaches are throwing me off, John.
I do believe both pauses have been used already as well, so no more of those to be seen inside of this map as well. We gotta wait till map 2 before anyone can take a timeout now, as it's all pedal to the metal at this point.
I'm itching for the timeouts. I'm fiending for them.
I mean, listen, the team comms, they're fun. Really glad we finally have those for you guys as well. This is leading to some really great moments in the broadcast.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably my favorite part of the broadcast is just listening to what's been going on, what's been talked about. You know, who's fraudulent? I'm just joking, but
puts a bit of pressure on the coaches too, because now everybody gets to hear what they say in the pauses and whatnot.
I've seen a couple of them start the timeout and then look over at the camera and remember that they're actually being listened to now. But I love how free-flowing a lot of these coaches are. A lot of them just, not skipping a beat, man. Getting right into it. Mr. Officer as well. Same as Sweater. He's feeling it now. The bane of the Wolves' existence. No longer the predator, now the prey. Listen to a guy named after a very comfy article of clothing as well. I figure something that is as aggressive as a wolf could be able to deal with some finely woven cotton.
Sweater shuts down Mowgli to start things out. Nearly loses himself, though, as Stokes mentioned, a second or two later, turns himself into the hunted for a second, but is able to make the correct call. Backs away from that dodgy situation and still keeps himself rolling here. As Oxygen overall still maintaining all of their initial positions. Noors, detached of course from Sweater's actions earlier on, is going to get found out to start out this round for the Wolves roster. Takes him out, removes the Warden from any late round sight play, and of course evens out the numbers. Still have the library hold to potentially deal with, but looks like once again that player has already backed away, not wanting to become a second victim of Wolves Clear.
It's almost down. Office pressure here from the Wolves. Oxygen do still have quite a few smokes at their disposal to try and hold this back. Nitro Cells still for Sweater as well. Newers with that earlier engagement. I'll go down, same for Mowgli. These two players haven't been too much the same so far, but both off the board now. Both of these teams forced to try and figure it out without them. Bibu, he might have the chance here, an opportunity to take down Dream. Be a huge boon for them. There's still one smoke holding them back from trying to plant here. One down, one to go. No real motion here from the Wolves. They're trying to wait out this utility game.
Rise and the rest of Wolves continuing to wait at the moment for an opening opportunity to get them forward here. Taking down the deployable shield does make the actual swing look a little bit better. Dream no longer going to have that additional coverage if he tries to move out and take the fight here. But still, Wolves getting very low on time. 25 seconds to go. As Shinka crawls forward in plant position now. First attempt has come in. No, oh, excuse me, one Nitro in the hands of Sweater for the defense here. Dream gonna get immediately shut down. The Nitro comes in. Planter, though, is able to get it down onto the ground before it goes off. Sweater will claim P4. An attempt to bite back against this, but still the case is down. We are even into a 3v3, and now the pressure's onto Oxygen to retake.
Stalwart positioning here from Wolves.
Attackers need to protect the diffuser. Position
Sweater's got to push through up library stairs. But Bibu with a nice angle, shut down immediately though. And it's solvable. Sweater's got it, a triple kill for him. Big gunfight here, he'll get taken down. Foxe has to hop off Case, and Shinka will get it done. The Wolves practically smashing their skulls into the wall until it breaks. Incredible Hulk style there, John, to get into the site and get that plant down.
One more for the Wolves is all they need, but only one chance to get it. Otherwise, OT is immediately activated. Basement hold from Oxygen now. Try and lock this one in. And we'll see if it will yield results or if they'll have a very unfortunate end of this map after rounding the comeback, completing the set to tie us up at 5-5, only to drop the next two to Wolves and lose it in regulation as well. Not the way they want to start this series out. It is their opponent's map pick, of course. Not going to be worried too much, I don't think, if they end up dropping things here. They still have Oregon to fall back on for map 2. And of course, map 3 on Clubhouse as well, where things will get a little bit more controlled. As we move over to that, we're not going to have to worry as much about the early round chaos that has been present on a map like this.
Yeah, and I don't think Oxygen is worried at all about Oregon. Now looking at Wolves maps over here, they lost to BDS and Liquid, and they haven't won one at this tournament. So shouldn't be too worried moving into that for OXG. I mean, there is potential, right, for Wolves to fix some things up and, I mean, take a big 2-0 victory, but I definitely see this going all three maps.
Well, we'll have to see if Wolves can still lock things down to enable that possibility for us.
Ooh, they're going to have Newers on the Oryx here. That should be some fun. Newers and Mowgli have been a pretty interesting commodity in this game so far, but one of these things is definitely not like the other. Newers has been playing outstanding so far, 13-7. Mowgli with some big entry kills and a lot of heat early, but he's kind of puttered out. It's really due to the fact that we've seen Newers adopt kind of a different play style going into the later rounds here. Sometimes he has shown his aggressive tone, but a lot of the times being able to play around his teammates and make some big plays off of that. That's where a lot of these kills have come from. Been so fantastic to see what he's been able to pull off so far throughout this tournament with Oxygen.
As we take a look at Wolves here, once again, very slow approach to this one, as you might expect on the final round of regulation. Not wanting to make any mistakes here, but at the same time, that caution can turn into hesitance very, very quickly if a team is not careful and end up costing them time and potentially an entire round if they try to follow through too slowly with things. Some of the roam game for Oxygen now retreating down to the first floor. Mowgli's clear so far being a success. Bit of an interruption here as he walks himself into the goo mine. Newers on the other end of it though. And he won't stay quiet due to the drone spotting him out. Vertical, though, a little bit of a different story, but Vertical's got his own problems to worry about. Wolves have a very good read on the current situation. They've pinched out both of these defenders who are not going to give them an easy path for retreat. One has already gone, however, just dipped out of this position. That'll be Newers to escape first. Vertical quickly following him up, though, as they realize they just cannot justify staying here for that much longer. There's no real winning scenario where they come out with a duel on a win and don't risk their own life in the process, so they back away from it.
Well, 1 minute remaining here for the Wolves to get their push going inside of sight. verticality being implemented. The breaching charges from Rise, still the skeleton key available to P4 as well. Breach just now getting opened on the garage side. So this is a little telling of what's about to come from the Wolves, as not gonna have the time to work wine.
A bomb has been located.
Newers playing to the absolute limit on the blue stairs, holding on to mud. Fantastic little angle that you can adopt. A little crack there. Wolves have to try and force this. Some stuns pouring in now and some big damage, but it's gonna be Newers to take out Bibu here on the blue stairs. Mowgli will step up though, and he'll take out Vertical. We're gonna start the trade game. Have to try and find a home for this planner, but it's gonna be down to Shinka. Where is P4? They need Overwatch on this. It's fairly straightforward for Foxe at the very end. Very messy there from the Wolves. Just didn't really have anything going for them as an alternative angle to push anything from. The backside completely put together for Oxygen. So it makes it to where Blue Hallway, Wine, Connector, all of these things are easily played from OXG, especially after they take down some Wolves members.
No support, unfortunately, for the cross on supply as well. There's that final kill is all too easy to grab as the tie is claimed yet again. 6-6 between the teams. Next team to win out 2 here will take control of the first map of the series, because we'll play out 3 more rounds to get that decision. Wolves get the defensive start here. Oxygen gets the attacker side start. Let's take a peek and see if Oxygen has been able to learn their lessons. Keep in mind, they were on the rebound at the tail end of the first half, and they were on this attacking side. The momentum, in my opinion, swings a bit more into their favor now, if that is going to continue into overtime. And they're able to still encapsulate the same fixes that they adjusted for the course of the regulation half where they were on the attack.
Okay, so OT necessary for our very first map of the day. Bound to be a fun one throughout this series, and obviously so here on Chalet so far. Lion in play for Newers, an op that we haven't seen Oxygen adopt just yet, but it seems like the gloves are off. We've got Dokkaebi in as well. We're going to keep Sweater on the IQ, and this is going to be extra useful this go around, as Rise is on Echo. Not nearly as many cams as Valkyrie, and also if he's rolling those around the building, even more potential to clear those out early on.
We did see Wolves try to use this a little bit earlier on, also in the regulation half as well. Didn't see the actual stuns from the Echo drones be all that much useful. Unfortunately, due to a bit of a gap on placement for one of them, but could still see that potential come out. Mainly using it, I believe, for the cameras at this point in the matchup here. We'll just peel those back with their players as the positioning is adjusted over the course of the round. Oxygen beating their initial clear, just chucking in the Rotero drones here. It deals with the piano setup, or rather prevents it from ever becoming a thing. A few members of the team will keep eyes on the windows here in case there's going to be any panic from the Wolves and any forced adjustments. It won't be happening so early. Another deployable shield to be spotted, but with a gun immediately trained on it, and unfortunately not a gun for the attacking side, so we'll be able to knock out that Rotero drone this time around here, prevent the explosion of the deployable shield, and keep Wolves' position alive.
Once again, these midway points throughout the rounds, both squads not able to get too much going, just a lot of jiving for position. To force back the opposition is Oxygen right now. Wolves respecting this as much, but the limiting angle might finally be here. This is where Wolves will have to make a stand. Not willing to budge here on the bathroom side. They've been condensed on the top floor, but do still have some pressure. Rolling over into Trophy. Yokai out will get picked up by IQ. Nice pickup there from Sweater. Making sure to try and manage the back end here before they end up pushing themselves forward. Big player gonna be that player downstairs for Wolves. No nitro cells though, so gonna have to try and win this out on the gunfights.
Dream, no plant capability right now. The Toxic Babe still holding things back. A few more of those still sitting in the pocket as well. Shenka, but he'll be caught out across the hall from Piano. Sweater finds him, prevents any additional hold up here for Dream now. Moves into it. Those Echo drones will strike true. That'll interrupt him initially, but he's still going to be able to get the plant down when everything is said and done. Noors with another pickup. Eliminates Beeb, or at least downs him. Rise and P4 are all that remains for the defense. Rise already trying to work himself out from a position that has been previously managed by Oxygen 2. So no safe harbor will be found as these players try to wrap out from it. Noors with the counter and the pinch. If P4 or another member of the Wolves commits too deeply to this fight here. P4, though, ready for that exchange outside as he had already previously spotted that player, but he can't win the gun duel. Noors comes out on top of the exchange instead. Rise getting low, he'll be eliminated. And now Bibu alone inside of the 1v3. 3 seconds left to just get on that case. Gonna lose it on time, and Dream will knock him out anyway. So Oxygen claimed the initial round of overtime.
Good shit, boys. Let's get it.
Let's run this shit. Let's go, team.
Let's get it. Let's end it here.
Off the piano window every time.
I got you, Mitch. I fucking got you.
Let's go.
Where do we think we got? Kitchen?
I think kitchen.
Kitchen's been good for us.
Yeah.
Peut-être faire une kitchen en vrai. Kitchen, ils ont cassé des kitchen, ils ont caché. Pour moi, les gars, c'est kitchen. Ils leur ont pas qui casse soit une solar, soit on accélère au top, ou on fait un truc, mais il faut aller côté solar.
Moi je dis on a des grosses couilles et on accélère au top.
On peut.
Vraiment, je pense qu'on a des grosses couilles.
En fait, ils veulent jouer full impact trick côté main en fait.
Ouais, carrément.
All right, well, Wolves are up against the wall now. Situation has suddenly flipped pretty drastically against them when you consider the map statistics that we were talking about earlier. Going over to Oregon, this is, in my opinion now, a bit of a must-win for the Wolves here. Otherwise, Oxygen has a much better map rating going on to our second play, and that is going to be very bad news for the Wolves. They're 0-2 on Oregon just at this event so far.
Yeah, it's not looking too hot for the Wolves right now. Oxygen more than in the driver's seat here. Have the Electro Claws in the lineup for Foxay to try and limit the walls. And I mean, every single engagement for the Wolves, including the interactions with Fox and just attempting to get these walls open, going to matter that much more so. This round has got to be a Wolves win. This map has to have the same result. Sweater with the Nitro cell here. He's trying to get it decided early. Him and Verd are going to be holding on to the top floor, at least for now, to get this hatch sealed.
Wolves out and about, just taking care of some prep business right now. You can see that Claymore going down a trench door. A few members of the team also continuing their own drone game on the rappel currently, trying to justify maybe an early swinging through Solarium here. We'll have to see. Because like I said, we do have 2 players on it. The Nitro out. You can see Bibu trying to zoop away from it, but he's too slow. Foxay tracing him out there, shuts him down instead. First kill of the round, a very important one for this round, claimed by Oxygen.
As you said, Bibu, try as he might, he does not find success, and immediately blown up from that Nitro cell as it flings out of the master window. Rise has the cross on the top floor here, but Oxygen, they've already gotten everything that's really necessary to win this round. It's up to Wolves to take the next step forward. And are they willing? P4 seems to be. Really wish he had that round back. Some crucial shots missed to the outside, and was able to pick off that line. Little potential there for him to win the fight up against Foxay next as he rotated in off the balconies. And now Oxygen, especially with this big pickup onto Bibu and the preventative maintenance on these hatches, it's going to be very, very difficult for the forward progress of Wolves. These Selmas will be able to break this up. As you see the little adaptive play here of Shinka, able to use those on the soft destruction, and as long as those little legs of the explosive reach onto the hatch, you get 2 on it, we'll obviously be able to explode it. But another big pick here from Oxygen. Minimal time for the Wolves to try and work this.
3 up now for the Wolves. Less than a minute to go as well, so time's starting to work against them. Gonna be pressured into it, execute. Shinka might excel under that environment though. Already claims 1 trade against Dream. You can see Oxygen been heavily lit for their 3 remaining players, but Noors on point inside of this game. Just got his 20th kill, by the way. Currently sitting at 20-7. P4 and Rise, all that sits left inside of the status quo now. Trying to keep things alive. They do have partial control of the site, but not enough to justify throwing the plant down yet. You can see the inside intel still far too strong. They're getting spammed endlessly. They'll know exactly, more than likely at least, where this plant is going to end up going down. The Nitro a little bit too far away, but the big swing from Sweater gives him his 3rd kill on the round here. Rise trades out for 2, brings it into a 1v1, gets the case down onto the ground, but it's simply a waiting game for Sweater. He leaps out, won't get the final kill, but it doesn't even matter as Oxygen complete the comeback and take control of map number 1.
33 kills between Sweater and Newers on that map alone. 20 kills for Newers. Incredible stuff. Again, making his case as the best player in the world. And this is a guy, he was never even in T2, John. Just skipped over right into T1, straight to Oxygen's hands. And I mean, what a miracle child he has been ever since. We're excited to get to map 2. We're excited to get to Oregon, folks. So we're gonna throw you to a quick break and we'll be back with Oregon.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
And we are back again, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready to jump into map number 2 here. Oregon up against Oxygen and the Wolves. Oxygen with a beautiful rebound to finish things off on Chalet, struggling initially, but able to capture the tail end of their attacking half, tie things up, and then take things back even further once we saw the Wolves get away with things once again at the start of the second half. Now we go to where Oxygen is going to be on much more stable ground, of course, here for Oregon. As Stokes was mentioning before, Wolves just do not have the best record so far at this event, having dropped it 2 times so far already earlier on.
Yeah, and the other big deal, walking into this is that they don't have a favored side either. Oxygen percentage-wise, more capable on both their defense and offense, and that proving to be the case on Chalet, a map where even Fresh had the Wolves favored, but Oxygen still able to take the victory, and now looking to take this series in 2-0 fashion. I mean, John, this is not looking good.
No, it is not. So we'll have to see just how confident the Wolves will be. Is there, you can see sitting back, discussing things about they need to deploy towards inside of this map. A lot of impassioned discussion here. There's indeed a lot of things that they will need to work on heading into this map. People on the other side of things for Oxygen, it's nice, calm, and composed, I do believe, from what we were able to see from them. Focused up, ready to get into this game. They are sure of themselves. Whereas over on the Wolves, still getting a few last things together here. As like Stokes mentioned, they are now up against the wall, and they do not want to be trying to fight this out from the lower bracket.
Don't mind us, Dream. We're just watching you drink water. It's okay. This is Dream in his natural habitat. Very happy man, hydrated man, well moisturized. Important things, John.
Flourishing in his lane.
In his lane. In my bag. Exactly how Newers probably felt inside that last game. 20 bomb from him. Amazing showing once again. Like I cannot express enough how well Newers has been playing at this tournament, especially because Oxygen had some pretty hard games. So, I mean, it's been quite the showcase event for him. So, I mean, with play like this, as well as, with the team that he has around him, there is potential with this roster to lift a hammer. I know they've had a hard year, over, all of 2022 for the most part, but near the tail end, big change-ups, as well as this nice grace period, seeming to really, really benefit Oxygen and their play style, as they have been, big knockdown dragouts with a lot of these big names that we have in Siege so far this tournament. So, see if they can get a big 2-0 victory over on the Wolves here on Oregon, as we are just moments away from getting into this map.
Indeed we are. So just waiting for the teams to get themselves readied up now, and I believe we've hit that point. So let's get ourselves into it. Let's find out if the Wolves can rebound or if Oxygen is indeed primed to take control of things here on Oregon for a potential 2-0 start to the day. This is an upper bracket matchup, mind you, so no elimination on the line as of yet. But any potential advantage teams will be getting, of course, moving forward past this point, if they make it all the way to the grand finals from the upper bracket, is lost if they drop this matchup here. So still a lot on the line for the Wolves, not wanting to have to fight out the remainder of the tournament with potential elimination on the line. So let's see if they can keep their composure, keep themselves into it, as the band's now going live.
Eagle will be banned out off rip. Always a very solid consideration when it comes into a map like Oregon, and that'll be where Wolves will start defense. Oxygen will be the obvious team on offense. Yana will be banned out once again here. Saw her banned out on the previous map, and it really did do some damage to Mowgli's playstyle. Really slowing him down on the offensive side. Just wasn't nearly as sharp as we usually see him. So we'll see if it affects him as much when it comes to Oregon. Valkyrie also going to be removed as well. And what is our last ban that'll slip through here? It's going to be Wolves, and it'll be Kaid off the board to make sure that these hatches stay wide open when it comes to the basement play.
So with the bans in, it's time to enter round number 1 here and see what exactly the Wolves have to show us here for their defensive side. The basement will be the initial site that they'll play into. No real big surprises in terms of the operator picks they're going to end up on as well here. And, oh, give us a moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw the timer get
Yep.
paused, so I think
we got audio bug, I think, if I saw Newers calling that out correctly. So.
Hey, we're not supposed to talk. Stop. We're not supposed to talk. Don't joke about it.
Oh, okay. Yo, new.
So give us just a moment here, folks.
I didn't know you're not supposed to talk.
Oh, wait, hold on, scissors.
Oh, it was a
one Fox, one Fox. No, go back. Go back. What happened? Who turned the TV off? Thank you. Oh my God.
Now we don't even know what's going on.
Okay, it's 1-1, I think. Oh.
You went early. I'm gonna put these right here just in case.
This is what we're here for.
Okay, we're
Oh, 2-2. Newers winning in the server and out.
Newers winning the important battle here. There we go. So I think,
can bring flashes,
if I saw it correctly, I think Dream just like spilled a drink or something. So that's why we had to pause. But we're all good now. Let's get ourselves back into it as round one begins. And we head into Oxygen's attack and Wolves' defense. A few repicks going to be shown up for Oxygen from the looks of things, mainly to bring this to Capital in for Newers. Away from that, though, going to keep the lineup exactly as they had pre-picked it.
Well, Capital does have the ability to bring secondary hard breach, so could see that in here. Could see some EMPs out of Sweater as well. Definitely going to be a big assist there for Dream when it comes to the hard breach game. Tactical crossbow, though, might not be the greatest addition to Oxygen's game here, as Wolves does have the Y discs, but should have enough burn to be able to deal with that. Yes, indeed. No EMPs for Sweater. We're going to have 9 stuns. We're all the way back to the utility meta now. So Oxygen should have no problem trying to deal with all of these built-up positions for Wolves, especially things like elbow and some of these other additions around. The only issue past that is really going to be Mowgli, as he will be on the Warden. And Warden heavily working his way into a lot of play here at the Six Invitational.
Newers and the rest of Oxygen move forward here. And are going to be trying to put themselves down into the basement in a moment. P4, the rest of the squad sitting on the other end of it. They will put themselves in the way, of course, with their own aggressive swings. We can see the play coming in from Mowgli here. Still winded up, over towards the top of the back stairs, ready to deploy out, but at the same time, has some counteraction to that on the other end of the wall. As we can see, Newers potentially positioned to try and push that player back down over the next few moments here, but all gonna have to come to blows eventually. Just a matter of Oxygen pulling the pin on that grenade once they are ready to move in.
Look at this hard breach dealt with. Get some angles open and meeting exposed. Wolves haven't had anybody at their doorstep just yet, and it may be a minute here as Oxygen still has some time to go. Also, Dream actually ended up only being the main hard breach here, as Newers did not adopt the secondary hard breach, got the Claymores on. Might have forgot about that as well, as none of them have been used, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. More than likely just playing this for the tactical crossbow to try and break up some mirror windows and other things abound. But again, the Warden playing back into that. So some worrisome moments. Could be a troublesome tide coming the way of Oxygen. Warden actually having quite a bit of play this tournament. 4th most played op when it comes down to it. 40% pick ban rate. Zombie, Valkyrie, and Solus, the only 3 ops above him. Stuns in now for Oxygen, looking like execution time, burning out the back stairs. They're trying to force things down onto this pillar position. Rise, though, he's going to be the big problem inside of Boiler. Stuns out, big play here for B-Boos. Will shut down the first one in through E-Box, but not the second. Big plays for Dream. He's found his space. He's not just a plant bot, folks. He can get some kills. Triple for Dream, and it surely is alive for Oxygen.
Rise and P4 are all that remains on the defensive side now. Rise trying to weigh out his aggressive position from the inside of construction in order to bring this back under the team's control, and it will work too. Doesn't even need to aggressively swing it. P4 claims the last one off camera, and the Wolves hold strong. They claim round number 1 here on their defense.
So much positive play from Dream there, but it's squandered. The rest of Oxygen can't back it up. No bite to this, no crunch. Able to get at least the initial kills, but you see, that was a perfect little snapshot there. Every single gunfight behind Dream going the way of the Wolves. He's practically enveloped by their setup. Off on an island now. No real way for his teammates to try and get there. Really unfortunate. His Sweater did seemingly have some form of position on the sledge on the back end. Try and get some kind of assistance, but most definitely did not work out. The Wolves now, after that successful round, will move their way upstairs. So going to keep the Jaeger in the lineup, but changing up a couple of other things. Solus and Azami both build their way into this. Azami especially going to be useful on this top floor.
Oxygen with the Maru swing to potentially use on this round. Dream will deploy towards that. Mowgli just trying to proposition himself over here next to Cafeteria in hopes of grabbing an early drone swing in there, but obviously not going to be able to find it as easily as he would have liked. Time continues to tick down here, though, with Oxygen now being spawned out, and we'll see Newers trying to make the first play here just by baiting out some of the aggression from the inside of Yellow Hallway. Quite the stack here as well. The players on Wolves, you have like 2 to 3 players with presence in this part of the map. Mowgli going for the outright scan. Be able to spot out that drone, but meanwhile, Vertical having the yellow ping against P4. Strikes true, takes down one of the members of the Wolves, and now starts to block out the rest of this downstairs room for having any effective play at all. The other player that was assisting this previously already rotated back, so full map control of the first floor already gained for Oxygen.
What a beautiful build-up for that. Oxygen able to successfully suss out a Wolves player, and I think it was from a pre-place drone as well. Had that before the Wolves player. He was even able to rotate in. Unlucky for P4. But the Wolves now have to try and get this position figured out. They're down a man. Oxygen able to at least get that dealt with. Now the big plays come. Have to try and get the Selmas down, break up some more of that walling. He's actually going to work it out as well. Make a nice little angle for himself. Playing back and forth up against Mowgli on the rappel. Newers found himself a position on White here too. Both of these really, really successful. If Oxygen can get this dealt with, it makes it to where playing inside of games on the position that Mowgli is really, really difficult. Can't really cross out of things. Have to try and go back maybe over towards Attic or something like that. Always going to be a big deal there. So Oxygen actually building this up over towards a big window take. Still some other things in the cards for Wolves.
Foxy gonna accidentally pick off Dream somehow. He said off camera, so we're not gonna judge that too harshly as we didn't really see it happen. Sometimes these things happen in Siege. As a bit of a claustrophobic push from time to time, we'll just awkwardly put one player in front of another. One thing leads to another, and there you go. Team kills. They tend to happen every once in a while here. We'll see if Oxygen are still in position to make up for things. Rise, expecting a counterplay to come in from the bedroom. Unfortunately, loses his life as he doesn't expect the double peek from Arsenal. Oxygen trade things back down into even numbers. 2v2 is where we end up at with 25 seconds remaining. Shinka and Mowgli are the last two standing here for the defense. And Newers trying to take this out with his teammate. Wow, just swings Mowgli dead to rights. Mowgli doesn't even send up a bullet in response to it. And the same can be said for Shinka as he tries to close the gap, get up against the doorway so he can pump out the shotgun, but does not work out here. The rebound is fouled from Oxygen, and we're tied again at 1-1.
And once again, a masterclass from Newers on perfect aggression. Doesn't overplay his hands. Beautiful read here again from Oxygen. Cannot believe they had that drone set up inside of showers. So unlucky for the Wolves. Felt like they were going to be able to get their player a little bit deeper into the setup for OXG as they tried to clear out the small tower area, but lost way too many bodies. And finally, Oxygen able to get things going for them, with Newers especially over on White Stairs. The push via trophy getting traded out all the way down to basically a dead heat, which Oxygen had to try and solve. Although Foxy did end up killing his teammate, they did end up winning the round, so Dream just a martyr in this case.
Dream just getting about 2 minutes off is all that happened right there, as he's given a little break after his exploits back in round number 1. Decided to let him take a backseat role here in the second round. That's worked out just fine for Oxygen here as they now claim the 1-1 tie point. Wolves, in the meanwhile, not going to be changing up a whole lot as they move into their third defense here. It is going to be still upstairs inside of the kids' door. They'll make one more attempt of this probably before they rotate back down into the basement. As they've already locked that one down, but it's going to be unlocked for play. Moving into round 4. Sweater and the rest of Oxygen continue to take their early map control. Imaro wasting no time on Dream there, just swinging directly into the big tower to take that for himself. Also will work on popping things open towards Attic to start establishing a flank against the actual defensive hold.
Fastest hard breach in the west. Flings himself in towards Attic. 2 big holes on the side of this hole. Boat still afloat though. But for how long? Oh, did Rise realize? Oh, thankfully they have the Banshees in play on White Stairs. That was very worrisome there for a second. You do not want Newers donning your door that early. Could have spelled demise for Wolves. Big crossfire there on White Stairs. Oxygen, though, they've been able to gather small tower, work their way in cafe side. P4 does at least have the kitchen position, though. Little assistance from the top floor with Shinka. Have that hatch open. Could be quite useful to their future. Biba's got a setup, though. He's got a couple of these Keepa barriers built up inside of Master, mostly trying to hold on to the Master window door. This is going to force Oxygen to try and rotate themselves around, try and get some side pressure onto Bibu's position. He's going to continue to try and reapply, readjust himself here, try and waste out as much time as humanly possible.
Nearly making impact against Newers there as the barricade is slapped open. Newers still going to get hit pretty hard by an impact that's chucked forward, nearly full damage that you can get off of one of those. Mowgli, in the meanwhile, to strike first. Second kill also claimed by the Wolves here as they're taking the fight directly to Oxygen. A flank trying to be worked against them, though. The pinch has minimal success here as the members of Oxygen are actually able to trade out as a direct result of that attempt from Wolves to get aggressive. They walk themselves into their own deaths to a certain extent and now bring the round into a much more palatable situation for the attackers.
Well, it's the 2 veterans of North America, Vertical and Foxay, to clutch it up against Bibu, a veteran in his own right in Europe, in Shinka. Decent amount of times for Oxygen to work this, and a lot of drone games still left too. No frag grenades though for Foxay, and that might be a big issue. Stuns though for Vert. He's gonna run himself over towards Armory Stairs. I think he does have one decently close to this position, though. Foxy's going to drop off and try and pressure White. Does have the counter here right inside of games. That's what he's got to worry about. It's going to be Bibu immediately holding the White door. Guns down 1. But, oh, it's going to be the transfer here. Vert has to try and get it, but no, the comm's not working out. Very unfortunate there. Looks like the push just a little bit missed time. Vert getting really deep in towards Attic and just didn't have the angle to try and fight back and support Foxay. Bibu just being able to hide away just in time. Guns down Foxay on the entry. Oxygen finally stunted there on the offense. Wolves will take the lead here, 2-1.
And so basement is going to be the next site up on deck here for our defenders. Wolves will take up the mantle here as they return back over to where they initially found success and once again are able to capture things at the tail end of round 3. Try to see if they can continue to find that forward success, and Oxygen will look to try and make up the difference on the attack here. Still keeping themselves competitive, but falling behind that little bit here as Wolves win 2 out of 3 of their rotations here. Never actually going to a tertiary site as well, so we still have to test the bounds of a potential first floor hold from them. But Vertical, in the meanwhile, here also going to go for the repick. Just a slight adjustment since they're up against that basement hole. They don't really feel they need the Thatcher for this one. So instead, the Twitch is going to get swapped out for Vert.
I was scared that P4 was going to add even more to that window. Put 2 on that. See if that ends up being useful for Wolves. Could be some serious damage on one of these Oxygen players if they choose to swing into Big Tower. Majority of them starting on the small tower side, though. Looks like we'll begin to clear from here. Vertical will be onto his regular drone. No Twitch drone just yet. So we'll begin clearing out showers. I have some supporting angles here to be expected. It'll be Newers on the showers window looking to hop in. We'll see what else the Wolves have going on with their setup. Able to add some more EDDs downstairs, and actually all of the Wolves players going to be playing downstairs. Not even a security position being adopted into this. Do have that freezer player, though, that's starting to push themselves up onto the door, and a potential for a player working their way in from Big Tower.
Nors and the rest of Oxygen trying to wind themselves up for the descent into the basement here too. Mowgli trying to position himself to still go for an aggressive push from the depths of his kitchen hole there. He's continuing to maintain that position for the Wolves' defense. But Mowgli gonna be scared away when everything's said and done here. Flashed up against him, just a little bit too aggressive, so that knocks him out, takes him down. Locks us into still our 5v5 here, but Oxygen now will be primed for the actual descent to start making things a bit more interesting on this round and get us into the actual execute phase where they're going to start looking for some kills.
I've gotten the position over the top of the site. Big Tower shut down, forcing the Wolves back. Wolves also getting what they want, though. Delay this time. All practiced. Both of these teams. All in proper timing. Stuns in now via the E-box hatch. Twitch drone will get soaked up though with some gunshots. Nice shot from Mowgli, speaking of shots. He'll take out Newers, finally getting one back on him. Newers has been so dominant in this matchup. It hasn't even felt like a duel, it just felt like a beatdown. Mowgli's going to try and work his way back out of Boiler. This has definitely slowed down Oxygen's push, and we've seen that when it comes to losing Newers. It slows them up just a little bit. Sent to recoil mode, and now looking to try and get a pickup here. Mowgli, though, slipping in between these angles, making it difficult, making it hard on Oxygen. They have to try and push in here. Somebody's got to go. Vertical, swing, go. Shinka is going to be holding things down in elbow. They're going to push through Nitro cells, but now they're prone. Nobody's swinging anything. Dream's going to get gunned down. The case is down. Oxygen's stunted. No place for this plant. No home. They're going to get swung out from the Wolves, and nobody's going to be able to even try and put the case down. It's like if they lose Newers, nothing happens.
Discombobulated at best there for the Oxygen roster, as they just cannot find any positioning to make their attack work, cannot even seem to sync themselves together. It's a messy assault of the basement. Relatively easy third round ultimately for the Wolves, as Oxygen failed to get any sort of footing here, failed to even piece themselves together with these flanks and whatnot being so successful as well. Unfortunate for Oxygen. So it'll take us into a 3-1 lead for the Wolves.
It was as though Oxygen, past the Newers' death, was constantly moving their pieces up to the firing line, but never having the willingness to actually get into the firefight. They would just wait right at that drawn line and see if the Wolves would make a mistake, see if they would push back into them. But the Wolves are on defense in this situation. They're not just going to give up every avenue to the site. Very strange there from the Oxygen lineup. There's no real teeth to that. Really needed to see them try and get forceful.
10 seconds to go.
If you're going to lose the round anyways, you might as well try it.
5 seconds left.
A little unfortunate there for them. Hopefully this next time around they have a little bit more gall. Try and send it at the Wolves members. Some hard-fought positions. Also Sweater getting tagged up quite a bit there at that tail end. When we did see him prone on the ground, he had like practically 1 HP, so definitely feel for him in that regard. But still, at the end of the day, you got to get something going on the site. For Oxygen right now, it's back to basics. 2 rounds separate them and Wolves, who have already guaranteed a perfect half here. They end up losing both of these. It'll be right down the middle. They can try and get it figured out on the offensive perspective.
Impact EMP should allow for this wall to be opened up. Forces an immediate reposition of Bibu. He'll rotate himself back and away from that spot. And that will open up the first execute avenue and a potential plant avenue as well for the Oxygen roster. Newers and the rest of OXG continue to wait out their time here and try to look for opportunities to clear out Rise's position now. He's placed himself upstairs in kids' dorms. Drones, I believe, have already worked their way through to figure out these positions. Heartbreach has already reached the kitchen side too. So Oxygen well on their way once again to opening up options for their execute, but as we saw in the last one, that doesn't necessarily guarantee success if they don't have the positioning to be able to swing themselves into it here. So still need to build up the confidence truly needed to get themselves in.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Mowgli constantly rebuffing the main wall there for meeting.
And as we see, Shinka trying to move himself forward here. Oh, Newers as well. Finally spotting out the intel from the player deeper on the inside of Kids, but now on the losing end of that battle. Can't really justify moving it forward. It's kind of the same issue as last one. There we go, though. Finally getting the movement out from Rise, and Newers, the patience, excuse me, works out here to shut down the first kill of the round.
Big pickup there. Dream will get shut down from P4 though. The rotation out there from Bibu. Nice kill from Sweater. P4 has the angle via the hatch, but he's going to try and back off of this. Big fight up against Vertical, and Vertical is going to get lit up. But all of these HP pools definitely dwindling for both respective teams. Shinka now adding another counter angle here, but not before Newers can make this round go blue. It's looking Oxygen's way right now. Still need to try and get this plant down, though. This angle might work here for Kitchen. Sweater, though, gonna be able to get the shield down, start this plant out right. Frags in, nice angle adopted from Foxay. He'll shut down Mowgli, and Shinka on a long rotate. That Osa shield going to be so useful in this position to play back into this, but Sweater, he's not even going to be actually on that. Instead, in between a big gap there, and the Kitchen counter, losing his life because of it. Shinka now on the rotation, but still so very much to do and minimal time.
Shinka gonna try to wrap himself back into a White Stairs retake here, but immediately countered as soon as he even gets close to Yellow Hall. Wraps around again, but still too easy for Newers to read into that one. Much better statement being put down onto the ground here by the Oxygen roster. And as such, they'll start to bring things back under their control. A 3-3 certainly in the cards now as we head towards the final round of the half. But at the same time, Wolves wanting to lock in that very same advantage they had on the previous map at 4-2, if they have any say in the matter. Problem is, though, they're going to go back upstairs from the looks of things over towards Kids now. The first foothold does not pan out, so they're back over into dorms to repeat this one, where they're only 50-50 so far on their win for this site.
Well, Oxygen bounced back in a pretty convincing way. Newers especially, 8-3, but didn't have to worry about not having him that last round. He was definitely the aggressor when it came down to it, able to get a lot of the entry kills for Oxygen and progress them forward. Seems like the play for Wolves, they can win out a big fight against Newers, could be game-changing, but trying to ISO players, especially from the defensive perspective, really, really difficult. And for Oxygen, they might not play Newers as far out on their defensive setups. Could see him playing something like the Warden, a little bit closer towards site. Just have to see how things go. Oxygen with an opportunity here to tie things up. The Wolves will have some presence down low, though, in the likes of P4. Bibu will stretch himself as well over towards the eastern side. He's actually going to sit on the armory stairs, and this could get hostile very quickly.
Bibu going to start to swing himself up towards top arsenal here. Makes the cross, though. Thankfully, I believe the Oxygen player was on cams when he decided to go for it. So around the bend, takes control of that. And for the rest of OXG, still trying to deal some initial utility clear as they send in the Terror drone. Norris to support behind it. One's going to blow up. Unfortunately, a little awkward on the timing here. So we do have it sitting in the way. Oh no, and Mowgli as well with a dirty peek. Says bye-bye to Newers. No room for Foxay to trade that one back out as the window has been blocked away. Would have to get himself a heck of a lot closer to pull that one off. He's going to try to still work it on Repel, but now he's waiting for his other teammates to also pop open things in Attic. Let the team move forward from there. So bit of a slow start to Oxygen, but now Sweater makes up the difference by finding the exchange onto Mowgli.
All right, Oxygen, you've lost Newers. How do we progress from here? The Mowgli pick is a start, but we've seen what Wolves have been able to do with a position like this prior. It's been a lot of their big rounds. Now they have an opportunity to pick up one yet again here. Dream He'll be the first one to adhere to the call. Oh, a little misplay there. Bibu bouncing it off the helmet, and oh, Sweater will gun him down as well. Wolves, they've finally done what Oxygen have wanted. They've given these kills up. The site has been broken down. Only 3 remain, but still a chance here, especially after that. Shinka will take out Fox. Oxygen not willing to push too deeply in towards the site yet. Dream will break up one of those Kiba barriers simply by jumping over top of it. Oxygen looking to try and set up this crossfire. Try and get this plant down. Vertical does still have a logic bomb as well. Still has Cam. Gonna try and confirm some positions of these Wolf members.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Dream and the rest of Oxygen prepping themselves together now. Trying to move forward here. As they'll open up the attic, rotate so they can play off of each other just a little bit better here. A bit more utility still to be taken down too, so it's continuing to slow things up, but there's really no more time to slow it up. Oxygen down to 20 seconds. They've got to make a bid for it now. Especially at even numbers here. The phone calls out. You've got all the info you could ever want. Here comes the plant attempt as Dream goes for it first. Shinka going to try to work this from down below. The impact's going through, trying to send it out as well, but it's going to be Rise with the big peak that actually stops the plant outright. Sweater's been dropped also. Everything left to Vert. And Vert on the headshot angle cannot contend against Rise. He wins it out. Another one's picked up here by the Wolves roster to end the first half 4-2 in their favor.
Jaeger boiler. You got no K.
Sweater's on Lucy? Okay.
Lucy, yeah. Lucy. We got it 1 round at a time.
Vert and Sweater should play top mid and freezer and just shoot drones. They can.
All right, well, into round 7 we go after the side switch, getting a little inkling of what's going on for our respective teams. Oxygen considering a lot of things there, as well as the Malusi. That'll work its way in for Vertical to try and give them some call signs as to where these Wolves members are moving in. Really be useful as well, especially with Mowgli in the mix on the Nook. If this sticks around, then you always have the potential to not only suss that out, but also slow down the player on the entry. So definitely like the considerations we're seeing here from Oxygen, even past that with the things like Newers and the Jaeger for Boiler.
5 seconds remaining.
So we got Wolves spawned out. Let's see how they fare on the attacking side. Failed to capture things back over on our first map of Chalet. This is where things started to unfortunately fall by the wayside, but now we'll see if they can keep their composure for the second map of this series. Already starting to look a lot better when we consider the map coefficients we were talking about at the beginning of this matchup here. Wolves seem to be in much better fighting shape this time around, and why wouldn't they be for this deep of a bracket run? Wanting to give it their all in hopes of continuing to excel in the upper bracket. Oxygen very much looking for the same thing, however. They've got the map point right now. So it's their opportunity to really pick up some steam, especially at the start here of the second half with that defensive hold inside of basement. Lots of delay utility built up for their composition. So Wolves are going to have free reign over most of the map to get started with this round. However, Jim, with that, there's no guarantee that the Wolves will be able to control that amount of map presence and still successfully lean themselves onto the site. They've barely tested the defenses from Oxygen as of yet.
And with that explosion, that's a sign of the times. Means that we are progressing through the mid-floor. Trying to apply some pressure towards Freezer and getting the other hatches open, just as some other avenues of access for the Wolves' opposition. Got the buck play in here for P4. I'll be able to break up some of the softer walls around the site here, making some new lines of sight, but not really anything that's going to affect Newer's position all that much. They do have some spare X-Kairos, I'm sure, that they can use from Bibu, but do have the impacts on Fox A still, and the ability to shoot those off the wall with the proper positioning, so might not be the best call there for the Wolves. It's going to be the Rotero drones here as the next layer of their offense to start breaking down these positions. Dream will lose his shield here for Elbow. And Oxygen now being peeled back, although quite slowly.
Wolves still moving quite slowly here as they enter the final 40 seconds, not wanting to trip anything up and more importantly wanting to make sure they deal with all this utility properly. Big swing from the defense, but it does not pan out. Newers ends up going down outright to Mowgli. Fox 8 to find the first exchange now as they attempt to take construction control. That'll also drop the case. Backstairs play being held up by the Molotov as well. So Wolves starting to stumble here as they enter those final 20 seconds. Shinka gonna look to make things up. He'll go for the res on his now down teammate Mowgli. Back up in the fight. Cases come with him. Mowgli at low HP. The team now not really knowing where to throw their own aggression. Bibu has success getting the back of one player. Mowgli does too. Goodness, we brought him revived back into the game, but still, Fox 8 and the rest of Oxygen in more than a willing position to shut that one down in the basement. They strike first and bring it within one round's reach of a tie again.
I was holding freeze for so long.
Fox 8 shutting it down there. Able to turn on a dime, take out that last Wolves member. And it was a very slow rolling offense. They were able to get everything necessary to try and open things up, but they weren't really able to try and actually translate it into anything that was potent. Dislodged the shield player, that was obviously Dream, but past that, I mean, nothing really coming to them. A lot of the big moments really just centralized around the pick onto Newers, but the defensive setup now for Oxygen, too strong on the basement. Amazing, amazing stuff there from them, especially through the utility game, able to slow down the Wolves, make it to where that entry point was not nearly as feasible.
10 seconds left.
Wolves in the meanwhile here with repicks to come forward. We are going to see Ash implemented into the lineup as well as a Thatcher. Nook as well from Mowgli and the rest of the Wolves. So we'll see what exactly they try and bring to bear here as they execute themselves onto the map for the second time so far in this half. And against Oxygen's first hold upstairs inside of Kids. Away from that, we do have pretty typical defensive lineup to try and fend off the aggression in here. A lot of the pressure, of course, going to be on Foxy to probably set things up with those kunais, but we'll be continuing to gain them over the course of the round.
Big nitro cell attempt there from Sweater. Right next door. Big nade now, though, from Mowgli. He'll be able to take out Vertical. Really wish that they were able to trade that out there in Armory. A little unsuccessful. Nice read, though, so far from the Wolves. Finally, somebody able to get something back. It'll be Newers as he'll take down Mowgli on the entry, but that'll be Dream and Vert both gone. Lots of utility being poured in now, and Fox will be forced to seal up Master. Making this a little bit more difficult for the Wolves to work through, but they have so much utility at their disposal to try and deal with a situation like this. They have the EMPs from Rise. They have the exothermics of Shinka. They just have to try and get these walls peeled down once again, trying to find a home for this case. Nobody having it right now, more than likely just waiting out on a balcony. A safe spot, just making sure that the Wolves don't lose that to their opponents.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Time to ring some ears.
Shinka and the rest of the Wolves here still trying to establish their back flank presence. They'll get the EMP support to be able to pop open Attic. Newers looks like he's going to try to challenge directly against it. Indeed he will. Bit of a Houdini moment for Newers, though, as he's kind of confused approaching the back Attic position. Oh, where'd the hard breacher go? As they've unfortunately hopped out the window, going on the outside catwalk over towards Arsenal instead. So Newers thought he would have had a play lined up, and to be fair, he nearly did, but just not in the cards this time around. That Thermite's got other things to take care of. Unfortunately, I believe his business is going to be interrupted. The impact in and interrupted. Nicely played by Foxy there, just banking it off the fan down below to make sure that that first Thermite charge on the walk-in gets completely interrupted. Foxy on the other end of the cards here. He's going to be ready for the challenge. Norris as well picks up the first kill from deep inside of Kids there. However, Wolves now turning it back into their own. P4 ends up clutching it out here. Some big turnaround kills coming in from the window. Give the round over to the European roster instead. And a bit of a surprise change-up at the end of the round.
I mean, something had to give Definitely could have been anybody's round, but Oxygen with a pretty serious chance there. They're going to take a tag timeout. Let's listen to what Redeemer has to say.
We're risking people dying there. Obviously, like that was unlucky, Vert, like how you died, but if we're going to be playing aggressive, like there needs to be utility once we fall back. And then Fox nailed it, right? Like then we can't be peeking because we're waiting for the collapse, right? So we have to decide what we want to do. But at the end of the day, like we're complete in control of the game. Like we're the ones making the mistakes, right? So it does not matter what site we go to. Like as long as we're waiting for them to execute, we have a way to stop the bomb plan. Like, and there's utility that will also slow them down in sight. Like, I think we're good. Anything extra, like getting picked, and we don't need any of that stuff. We know what they're going to do. They're playing very, very generic. We're playing slow. We got this. Come on.
I think we can go back kids. Let's go back kids. I think we bring like the exact same take that we do. I think maybe you just bring like extra denial, like Bert. Maybe like I mean, I guess just pocket the wise for yourself, or don't even play in there. Like if we think they're gonna nade, just don't play there. Let New hold the angle from pin.
All right, working our way back into round 9 now after the tag timeout. Oxygen feeling as though just giving a little bit too much over to the Wolves camp. Wolves playing a little generic, just kind of not as light on their feet as some other squads Oxygen has been facing. Feeling as though if they rest on their morals, make sure that they don't try and swing into things, try and use some of this utility game and slow down the Wolves, that they can win it out in some of these low time executes that the Wolves have been going for. And personally, feel as though that would definitely be a big boon for Oxygen. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah, I think it's certainly going to help out the defensive prowess moving into this round. We'll see if the repeat is going to yield any success overall for Oxygen. As their overall lineup going to be exactly the same. The secondary hard breach hopefully making things a little bit easier for the Wolves this time around, especially with the impact trick nearly tripping them up as they try to establish walk-in control for themselves. Mowgli and the rest of Wolves will take up their initial positions right now just on the balcony outside of the bedroom. The drone zooming forward here. He'll try to get as much intel as possible before committing himself to the inside, and the rest of his teammates as well will be pretty quickly behind him. For Oxygen though, as we take a look at the rest of their players, just remaining stalwart on the site for the most part. Small extension, of course, down onto the first floor and wasting some time down there, but overall, the Wolves still just trying to make this push work here as the nade goes in.
Reloading.
Takes out the deployable shield. It starts to once again open up the wayside for these guys to play together. Nice little zombie barricade comes through though and allows for Dream to get this clutch little barricade back in there. Seems they wanted to try and play aggressively in through that angle and establish some presence there, but once more just weren't really able to get the aggressive swings they liked to lean in for. So had to back away from that one. Easily a zombie barricade to also get the full metal wall barricade back up there pretty quickly. And as such has created a little bit more of a difficult obstacle for the Wolves to try and work themselves through.
Well, drones out here for Wolves have to attempt to get this master wall open. Everybody adhering to what Redeemer had talked about in that timeout. Not a single pick, not a single point of damage gifted over to Wolves here. Do have somewhat of an aggressive look, pouring out a freezer though. We'll have this drone working in for Rise. Sweater will get discovered. He's gonna fall back into security. How willing are they to stick around this though?
Big run out from Vert. He moves out, grabs the opening kill against P4. No support for P4 out there either. He was on his lonesome. So big mistake made by the Wolves here as they are grasping at straws for their own aggressive positioning. The late run out seems to really just set the Wolves' attack down the river at this point. Bibu lines one trade back into this one. Shinka heavy damaged against him from a nitro as well. Things just not looking good for the Wolves here as Oxygen looking to finally put their feet on the ground inside of the second half. And indeed they shall, locking in the upstairs hold for themselves and rebalancing the equation down to only a one-round deficit versus their opponents.
And we're keeping the bodies up, keeping the utility alive was a big, big gain there for Oxygen. helping them process the later portions of that round. And some big pickups here early as well from Vert. Triple kill for him on the round 2. Able to wrap that one up with a nice little bow. Round 9 in the back pocket. And now he's setting things up for, I do believe, the basement. Indeed. So we headed down there. See what they want to try and bring to light. It's going to be Newers on the ward, and to be expected, they're going to work the Malusi back in as well for the reasons that we were touching on earlier. Just nice to know when somebody is working their way into your setup.
So a few repicks going to show up here for the Wolves. Buck specifically add a little bit of soft breach potential, and Rise as well over on the Zof. Rise will bring that one in. We'll still be keeping the Flores, but Shinka is going to be swapping that one in for himself.
5 seconds left.
And meanwhile, for Oxygen on the other end of things, we're going to see a pretty typical basement hold come out from them, mainly in the form of delay utility between the Malusi smoke, as well as the Goyo being played by Sweater. Canisters have all gone down for Goyo already, so Sweater's allowed to play pretty aggressively here. He's going to lean himself out towards it. P4. We'll try to challenge him with a front door entry, and we'll just have to wait and see, really, if impact is made.
Well, Wolves haven't been able to get any blood out of this stone just yet. Oxygen giving them a difficult look. We'll have some aggressive players. Do have a player over inside of Small Tower. Fox 8 might be getting crept up on right now. Predator or prey, Fox. He gets discovered here. Oh, he's gonna slip right through the cracks. Mowgli doesn't even move like a statue here in the kitchen hallway. Wolves will at least be able to garner mid-floor, start working on these hatches.
Wolves trying to open things up for themselves, and Mowgli, he's first up to bat with regards to trying to take back stairs. However, he's got a pretty mobile challenger in the form of Newers here, trying to work himself back towards it. See a Rotero drone force him back out of it, but no real momentum to swing into it just yet for the Wolves here. Oxygen still very much controlling the pace of things. As we still have half the round to go for the Wolves, we still have quite a bit that could change up here for their attack to potentially boost it. As just now, we're going to start to see some of that delay utility start to be burnt out by Oxygen's own defense.
Minute remains. Oxygen still so strong in this strategy. Able to hold things back, make things difficult. No ability to close up this rotation, so Dream's going to have to stand on it. Stuns in, smokes out, still Mowgli's gonna cross. Not nearly as fatal as the last time. Nobody will be playing in Boiler as Oxygen have peeled this back just a tad bit. Newers will be discovered. What a shot from Mowgli as he'll transfer it over to Freezer. Knew the refrag was coming. Awkward angle here though, vertical. He's gonna get pre-fired, but he gets a nice kill. But it's gonna be Wolves all over the Oxygen setup this time around. Able to collapse in such a positive way, especially Mowgli with the huge entry kills there. Not only onto Newers, but onto Fox.
So map point now on the docket here as Wolves have reached that pivotal 6th round. All the pressure shifts over to OXG to try and stabilize things here as they need 2 in a row. And they will start with the replay over here on basement. Attack pause to be seen for them. Try and bring them back into this one.
There's one guy who watches fucking
Coach behind him trying to hype things up, keep the spirits high. As once more, this was the map realistically Oxygen weren't expected to maintain control over. But now it doesn't necessarily seem like that is truly the case. The Wolves, having rebounded themselves, they lead this from the pole position, and after having that nice 4-2 start on the other half, they're going to continue to excel so far on the attacking side. Oxygen giving us very much the same flair we've had in previous rounds, however, just with a few slight change-ups to their lineup.
5 seconds to go. Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Well, no hard breach here for Rise for a secondary utility. We'll have the Habana, obviously, for the Wolves, though. So, still have the ability to get these hatches open. Auction feeling as though the basement setup could work for them once again here. Dream will be the one on the Warden this time around, though. We're going to actually have Newers on the smoke, something we don't see all that often. He's going to be in a pretty forward position still, playing where he was previously. Now the FMG9 using the 1.5 on that. Quite the weapon at the end of the day. A lot of people really enjoying that gun, especially since it got worked in on this character here. Oh, some beautiful shots. Mowgli almost with another transfer, 13 and 10 on this game, but he gets away with a quick strike on Foxe.
Wolves continue to take things slowly here now that they've found the opening kill against Fox and are already primed for map-ending success. Need to find a way to get themselves into the basement here. Unfortunately, not going to be an easy task. Sweater ready to roll out, but a flash, probably at the worst possible time, connects directly into his face. Completely kills any of his aggressive momentum coming up that staircase there. Potentially may have just saved his life, though, as it looked like two members from the Wolves were here, ready to establish Overwatch if he did go for that peek. So it might end up being much better that Oxygen keep their composure and keep those 4 players locked in the bunker to await the execute from the Wolves here. Speaking of which, they've got everything opened up now. As we're hearing the last of those few hatches get popped. So now it's just a matter of time and positioning for the Wolves here to trigger the descent.
Into the last minute we go.
A bomb has been located.
Foxe, the only death so far for Oxygen. This round has to be a success, otherwise Wolves pushes us onto Clubhouse. Once again, the waters get muddy. Stuns in. Execute to follow. Nice shot there from Sweater. Oxygen with the lead-off picks here, though. Nitro Cell out. Mowgli with a big stand-in freezer. Newers can't shut him down. A drop inside of E-Box. Some aggression out of Bibu. And they find the big kills. It's down to Dream. Had a huge 3K earlier in the game, earlier in this map. And he needs to get it again. Every target so low on HP. He just has to pick right. Big one there. P4 tries to spam him down through the wall. Nobody adopting the construction angle. Rotate back through. Up close and personal. He'll get another. He can get it done here. A quad for him. Oh, but he has the shotgun in hand, John. He switches weapons too late, and it gets around over to the Wolves.
Bibu with quite a bit of talk after that victory as well. The Wolves bounce back and trigger a map 3 in this series. Nicely done here, both on the attacks and defense. Very little problem showing up for our European roster over the course of this map, which is, of course, a big departure from what we have been seeing previously on Oregon. Map number 3, though, is right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go anywhere. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Six Invitational. Map number 3 is getting teed up here once again between Oxygen and the Wolves. Clubhouse is the map that we go to duel this out on. Once more, big huddle here for the Wolves players as they get themselves ready for it. We can see the stats in front of us from map number 1. Mowgli once again being the big piece of the puzzle for the Wolves. A bit more of an even affair over on the Oxygen side of things, but Vertical and yours still kind of standing on top of the pile there.
Yes, indeed. And Wolves able to stare down the barrel of the gun and smile as they get the map over on Oregon. It was going to be some hot water for them after Oxygen was able to sneak past them on Chalet and get it to their map choice. But now it boils down to this one map between who moves on in our upper bracket here between these two, and it comes down to Clubhouse.
Like I said, Clubhouse is where it's going to be duked out. So once again, very similarly to Oregon, we're not going to have as much room for the roam game to really excel out, especially on quite a few of the downstairs sites here. But away from that, it's going to rely much more on the team composition, the kind of bunker setups these guys will be able to deploy themselves into, and how well those setups will keep themselves alive at a deeper point into the round. I do like this little huddle that we get themselves into as well. It's just a nice little team meeting. Get everybody out of the chairs, get everybody grouped up together, make sure they have full composure of the strategy before going into things. We'll have multiple support staff helping them out with this too. So Wolves, definitely a team that comes into their maps prepared. You can say that at a minimum for this roster.
Yep, everybody huddled around Hellbeat. Get things settled for what they want to try and do on Clubhouse. Maybe some last-second strat adjustments, something maybe Hellbeat had seen in Oregon or Chalet, could potentially translate over to this map. Whether it be pacing-wise or strategy-wise, we'll have to see. But Clubhouse is going to be our battlefield between these two to get this dust finally settled. These two especially right here, Vertical and Newers, not only in that last map, but the prior one, able to stand quite tall. Vertical not as much so on Chalet, but it'd be hard to try and hold a candle to 20 kills, wouldn't it?
Certainly going to be the case, as Newers was really able to go nuclear. That position back in map number 1, really taking full command of most of the situations to keep our attackers in good straits. This time, though, they're going to be on defense to start things up. Oxygen will be, so that does give them a slight edge, in my opinion, going into it, because it's Clubhouse after all. Had a very defensive-sided tournament so far, and I don't really believe Clubhouse is going to be any exception. Oftentimes, it is the rule. So we'll see if that holds itself to be true yet again, going into the third and final map of this matchup. Important to note once more, folks, this is an upper bracket game. No elimination on the line, but the loser obviously going to have to duke things out in the lower bracket. Fight for survival, work their way through the gauntlet, as it were, to be able to make their way into the grand finals. Let's see if they can get it done as we are live with the map now. Oh, okay. Give us a second. We're apparently not live with the map.
Looks like we might have the wrong side, so we're going to get this all switched about. Beautiful fly-in, though. Really, really like that production. You guys did well in that. Look at Clubhouse. Beautiful. We're not starting the map, though. This is a huge bait. This is all a lie. Do not eat the cake.
All good. I think, like I said, I think we just picked the wrong side, so give us a second here. And
I can't wait to do the fly-in all over again.
The music, too?
Yes. No, especially the music. I haven't heard that enough.
We can imitate it this time. It's like,
boom, bum, 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 bum. Oh, we're too goofy to have microphones. Why they give us these things? This is a bad choice.
It's going to be a good question to ask ourselves.
Yes, indeed.
Potentially in the near future.
I love that little mouse setup that we saw there. The like, you know, powdered blue with the pink.
What's this?
His little mouse.
Oh yeah,
here, the colors.
I think that's all Zowie stuff. He's got the pastel.
Oh yeah,
set going on there for himself.
I had the EC2B for a while in that pastel color. Love that mouse, but I'm a wireless boy now.
Well, so are they. I think they just came out with one.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was like a month or so ago.
Shut up and take my money.
Everybody's been begging for a while,
dude.
They finally.
Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Give me that mouse.
I see a lot of people tweet like, "Oh, I'm finally back on a Zowie," like that sort of thing. So.
Dude, glorious! What a glorious time to be alive. Speaking of glorious, another fantastic mouse. I don't think I've actually seen a glorious here. But
a lot of innovation in that consumer department recently. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are ready to get ourselves back into things. We've gotten things started. So to correct myself from what I was saying before, too, because the sides were wrong and I was just reading the lobby UI, Oxygen's actually on attack to start this map out. So just in case anybody got confused by that.
Flying.
No flying!
I can't cast without no flying.
Just make one on our own. Bum, 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 bum. This is now an improv show.
You have amazing vocals.
What? Do I?
No, I was
sorry. That was like really unprompted. I was like, I really got thrown off by that.
It's completely lying.
Just a wild compliment out of the.
Oh man, that's like an Eric Andre show skit right there. That's ridiculous. Ying and Habana both banned out. Valkyrie will be banned out as well. I still can't believe they didn't do the fly-in. I'm still mad about that. Last defensive ban will be coming through. All of this making so much sense when it comes to Clubhouse. The Habana one especially. I'm surprised that we don't see her more often when it comes to this tournament here. Was seeing her for quite some time when it came to Club for quite a few months there, but not right now.
Mira going to be our final defender ban as we wrap these up. No real huge surprises when it comes to the overall ban scope here, though. Ying, once again, is the only one that really stands out for me is like, maybe they could have gone with something else, but the choice is still perfectly fine, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with you. It's a positive thing either way, only just what you want to deal with. Valkyrie and the Mira both going to be removed here, so Oxygen won't have to deal with nearly as much cam work and nearly as many of those mirrors placed around. Seriously a nuisance, especially when it comes to the site that the Wolves went to, so already a positive boon for Oxygen. That Wolves ended up removing that from play. So we'll see how the Wolves want to try and build this up. They are going to have the castle barricade, so usually a telltale sign of a roam game. We're going to have the mute in as well. So how do Wolves want to set us up for round one?
We'll be finding out here. Castle Barricade's going to try to split things up when it comes to the downstairs clearance, hopefully leaving Oxygen with too little of an amount of time to properly get rid of those. They do have the sledge, so as long as he's in play, and more importantly, in a proper position to actually counter those back up, shouldn't really be much of an interruption. The one going down there on the main stairs wall as well, just a little bit of an insurance policy for the early roam that Wolves are more than likely to deploy towards. Allows whoever is going to be upstairs, if there is going to be anyone upstairs, just to rotate a bit more aggressively back down into the basement. It seems like that's the whole extent of these castle barricades for the most part. All three of them going around this bar area to block off bathroom, as well as the window rotation. This actually, all four of them, to correct myself too. Thought they'd save that bottom one for at least one panel downstairs, but it's not going to end up being the case. So full roam setup completed there on the bar to give Wolves a little bit of a bunker to deploy towards. Have to keep the sledge away from it, but otherwise, we'll see now as Nuors might just skip the process of this clear. Look, he's in! Nuors already knocking out Bibu, has been able to push himself forward, has literally the entirety of the arsenal under his control. Now there is another player towards Dirt that he's going to have to watch his back for in just a moment. This is not a done deal by any means just yet. An incredibly advanced play, which could still go poorly for him and the rest of OXG if he doesn't contain it. P4 has been found out on a church rotate. Mowgli, though, I believe getting the drop now against Nuors, but now the rest of the team is here as well. And the defense on site still very weak for the Wolves. Believe they droned out Shinka, and indeed, they're going to have him now when he finally comes back out from his Dirt defense position. Rise is all that's left. Oxygen, some good intel spottage and a nice heads-up play from Nuors to open up this site for themselves. While it didn't necessarily immediately guarantee the site take, it has brought it down to this 4v1. Now they have the plant going down for Dream over in Church 2. Rise, no counter to this, as he'll just have to force himself on the rotate over through Moto, where he'll also already have a cross-established. Sweater ends the round for Oxygen.
Oxygen forced the roam game to come to them, pierce their way into sight. No real answer for the Wolves as Oxygen easily get that plant down after some serious contributions from Nuors on the entry game, backed up by the remaining members of OXG. A flawless first round from the offense. Round two now. We're going to head back down to the basement. We are. Wolves feel like doubling down, but probably not going to be the same strategy at all. We'd really like to see what they're going to do with this. We are still going to have the castle barricades in here, so, I mean, there is potential, but Oxygen dealing with that fairly straightforward and in a very, very easy manner once they were able to get those picks. So, might be going back to the same well, but I highly doubt that if Wolves end up going for the same strategy. Oxygen more than likely try and solve things through a different means rather than trying to force themselves in through blue like they did the last time just to try and throw the Wolves off a tad bit.
10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse.
Well, Oxygen on the board yet again. Just a single hard breach composition to make things work on this round. The Wolves as well, doubling down on their hold in the basement in hopes that it will work out. Just putting some duct tape over that hole that Newers was able to abuse in the previous round and hope that things will work out a bit more successfully this time. We will see. That is going to be the winning strategy here. Newers, a bit unfortunate as he walks his way into the building, as he will now unfortunately become a victim of that double castle barricade. Great Overwatch, too, for just the overall setup here for P4. I'm actually really liking this roam setup he's committed himself to, especially with the motion detector going down in kitchen. He's pretty much got full coverage to any entry angle that would be used against him, so that's actually a pretty powerful position he's played to there. Does do it alone, though, is the big issue, so once you get more than one player from Oxygen potentially trying to fish him out, can't really sustain it. He's forced back downstairs relatively quickly, and Oxygen begin to split up this defense here, trapping Mowgli, and I believe one other member of the Wolves on the second floor. Indeed, it's going to be Rise playing along with them. Rise was the unexpected one, though. He gets away with a pick against Newers. Nade goes out from Mowgli. He is not going to be able to immediately down a member of the opposing team, but Fox as well grabs the kill against Mowgli. Sweater also killed in the process of this fight, though, still leaves Oxygen one player behind.
All quiet across Clubhouse now after these interactions. Big deaths for Oxygen. Newers and the Sweater tending to be the aggressors for OXG. But we saw just how potent Vertical can be that last map. Always been an amazing player, high caliber at the end of the day. And a fantastic player for Oxygen throughout the years. Going to continue to hold the flank route here on main stairs, just in case any of the Wolves members do end up rotating back down. But so far, so good on this strategy. The clear from Oxygen not as potent as their direct attack from round one.
So far, just down one player here. Mowgli. It's going to be the only one knocked out so far from the defense. Good news is Oxygen, of course, starting all of this aggression quite early, so they still have a tiny amount of excess time, but in reality, it's not a whole lot here. Rise continuing to maintain the 2F position is going to cause some serious issues for the potential of Oxygen actually getting into the site time. Only just now equalizing things with the pick against Rise. Finally dealing with the upstairs roam, but at the same time, only just now being able to focus on the actual site take with just 30 seconds to go. This is going to be rough from Oxygen, and it's going to be pretty much entirely reliant on their gun skill to make this happen.
Nitro cell, not gonna land. Most of Oxygen, all of Oxygen, inside a kitchen. Dream gonna adopt the angles quickly to try and get some access into the actual site. P4 will go down to Fox, and they found a spot to put this plant down. Nitro cell, but it has to be covered. Oh, what a shot from Fox, a triple for him. B-Boost locked down!
They get it.
Oxygen with a cleanup. Round not looking like theirs at all, but they pull it back across the line in the basement.
And so Oxygen keep hold of a double take on the basement site. Wolves try to go for one. Get beaten out by Noor, sneaking directly into the site. They try to deploy themselves to a hyper-extended roam on the second attempt, and to be fair, the roam works as well. Establishes so much delay. Oxygen don't even set foot into the basement, let alone take a real good look at it, until about 25 seconds remain on the clock, and they're still able to make the execute work. Not a great sign for the Wolves. They've already lasted this long here. We're still going to be looking for a solid rebound from them as things continue to evolve now, moving on to their second site choice, but third round up here inside of Gym. The basement's just not working. They can't justify going for a third attempt in a row on it.
Attackers discovered the location of a bomb.
Well, after those two failed rounds, failure to launch out of Wolves, Oxygen will now begin their assault onto the master side of things. Frost will work its way in. See how that works out for the Wolves and trying to slow up this assault. The gunplay hasn't been there for Wolves. They were able to get it done early on in that last round, but then Oxygen, bullheadish when it came to their kitchen offense, and Wolves trying to adhere to the call, but Oxygen able to dust them in every single bout that they had. Now it's led to this. 2 quick rounds for OXG. Wolves gonna try and get a round over on them finally on this top floor defense.
Oxygen starting to add a few angles to their arsenal here. But don't get me wrong, a lot more work still needing to be done. Jacuzzi's up next here for them to try and pop this one open. Thatcher in place, which should be an easy counter to the electrification on the wall deployed by Mowgli. Had the Rotero drone, I think, going on the other side, just in case that we had a bandit trying to actively play against that one. Not even going to see that. Mowgli's smarter than that. He knows the fact that they brought Thatcher in here means he's pretty much a moot point in terms of his capability to actively prevent that wall breach. So he'll backed away from that pretty prematurely. We still have that bit of an extension going on in the cache. So we'll see if Oxygen choose to clear that one out. If they're just going to go directly for the gym plant, which can be a bit dangerous. They don't necessarily need to take out that player in construction, but the additional pinch does give them that capability to go directly for the bedroom swing, which will be a bit safer if they have access to both of those angles. Dream note to strike first. In they go. It does look like it's going to be the gym plant when everything's said and done here. They're actually able to force a player just on the outside of those garage windows too to keep that player, or rather the construction windows, excuse me, to keep that player contained. It's going to be Rise on the other end of it now. As the overall entries are a stunning success from Oxygen. 4 kills in a row, even a 5th one, even though it's technically one of their teammates. We'll count it under these circumstances. Shika now left alone and not going to be able to take it much further either. 6 kills in a row for the OXG roster as they take a swift victory here in this round. we had a pause time come out here as well for the Wolves. They're going to take their tack. Let's go ahead and take a listen in.
Pas le même style de jeu que sur les autres maps, ok? Ils s'adaptent, ok, comme nous. Go rejouer un petit peu à la brésilienne, ok? Go essayer de reprendre un petit peu les bonnes entrées au début, etc. Go pas se chier dessus non plus dans les corners, ok? Ils sont nuls en exec, c'est vrai, mais go être aux bons endroits au bon moment. Faut vraiment qu'on soit dedans en fait, il faut vraiment qu'on sente le jeu, ok? Là il faut qu'on le sente, il faut qu'on arrête d'essayer de s'adapter sur quelque chose sur lequel ils sont en train de s'adapter, ok? Allez les gars, ouais. Ça part de là, let's go boys.
Et gun up les gars. Basement, on peut faire la strat basement avec l'adaptation des murs, l'adaptation des murs dans le bleu, etc. Les gars, ça ne intéresse pas, ok? Ouais.
Carrément. On va faire ça. On va faire ça. Go faire une turtle avec l'adaptation dans les murs dans le bleu. C'est chroming en tout cas. Et donc du coup là les gars franchement nos grosses pouillasses hein. Dans les entry points et tout les gars on va les...
And as we come out of this pause, getting ourselves back into things, our observer for this matchup, Max pointed out a very good stat for this one. When you look at the kills overall for Wolves here and combine them all, I mean, just look at it right now, it's pretty drastic. Mowgli with 1, Rise with 2. That about averages out to every single player on Oxygen's individual kills currently. 3, 3, 4, 3, and 2. Dream the only one that does not match the total kill count from the Wolves right now. And to be fair, still early in the game, but at this point, we'd expect at least a little bit more fire back from them.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get feisty, right? You fought all the way down to this point. 3 quick rounds from Oxygen. If Wolves don't get an answer here, I'm really, really concerned.
Only got a 1 kill per round average as a team right now.
Well, when you put it that way, John.
As a player, that'd be good, but
that would be...
As a team,
yeah,
so much.
Right? I mean, as a player, then your Newers or Shiko. As a team, not looking too hot there. But for Wolves, I think we can get hot to trot on this round here. P4 looking for it. Be playing around main stairs as the bandit. Newers has already moved in, trying to be a bandit in his own right. Going to steal away another round from the Wolves. Fast acting as Oxygen, looking to apply so much pressure to Wolves. They don't want to let them breathe, John. Want to make sure that all of this is fast acting and they're able to lay them to bed as quickly as possible.
Newers with the pixel peek here. Try and grab anyone that wants to pop back out from the blue generator. No one obliging that though from the Wolves side of things. They've nearly do it. As Newers almost gets a snapshot out against one of the defenders here. Ultimately, nothing will come of that for the time being, though. And he'll probably continue to maintain that position in hopes of changing it a bit later on in the round. Mowgli being pressured into that back corner now. Able to delay out a little bit more of the pressure as we see the Goyo canister getting popped at this very early phase of the round. Still 2 minutes to go, so plenty of time for Oxygen to make this work. Burning out the utility this early on is already a great sign here that Oxygen is certainly keeping the heat on the Wolves, making them panic to the extent where they feel it's necessary to pop out some of these canisters and their other forms of utility.
Nothing coming from the Nitro game here on Wolves. No big pickups on the Oxygen side. If anything, just really helping them with their case as they're looking to break up some of the verticality inside of Kitchen. Foxy going to be on to the buck here. Got that secondary hard breach, already using one of those to break open a hatch. The Selma's going down now for Dream as well, and that'll be the Kitchen hatch exposed. Some big shots, a big find from Rise here on the double stack. Able to take down Dream, and a big pickup here. But a lot of damage off onto Bibu now. Newers, he's been discovered to swing in through. Do they recognize the push in from Oil? Mowgli will get it done. Wolves finally getting the guns hot, looking to take this round. Sweater might finally have something though in the Oxygen camp. Big kills here, big transfer. Nobody paying attention to the main hallway as Sweater creeps up. It is gonna be all kills for Oxygen all day.
So many holes in the Wolves' basement defense. Second round in a row now, or not in a row, but second round where a member of Oxygen has just walked right up into the site and gotten a multi-kill because someone wasn't watching a pivotal entryway. Foxy with the hold here though. Round's not done just yet. Shinka trades it back into a 1v1 here. As now Vert put in the clutch scenario. Shinka on the other end of it. It's Vert so far with the correct read. Some support behind him as well here as he has the additional barricade. Good damage onto Shinka, but can't get the outright confirmation. He'll be given a second chance to re-peek into this one. Toxic Babe to try and force a reposition from Vert. Won't hit him, but he'll move anyway and shut down the 1v1 with ease. Another round on the board from Oxygen.
You think I'm gonna fucking shit? Come on, man. Oh my god. Let's fucking go. Cornelius.
Yeah, that's a round where you just pause it right at that point where Sweater's walking up the hallway as a coach. You go, boys, what the hell is that? How? Everybody is alive. There's not a single person worried about the main hallway. Oh, they'd never use that. Well, clearly.
It's not even like someone died and it's just like they couldn't patch the hole that quickly. Like you said, everyone was up. So why is there not someone watching the main hall push?
Just so unfortunate there for Wolves, especially after attack timeout. You expect them to kind of, right the ship. But no positive wins coming their way. Get the big kills, but not the big round. And Oxygen put them right back down into their hull.
Don't do it, Vert. It's not going to work.
No, Vert, we
talked about this. Oh, no.
We sent you to council
I think he's locking it.
We thought you've changed. There was rehab for this, Vert.
For anyone that didn't hear us joking about Glaz endlessly during the group stage, personally, I don't think this is the best repick. But
yeah, John is a big old hater of Glaz, but rightfully so. I'll back him up on this, so feel free to at me. Terrible operator. But 4 smokes rolling their way in here. We'll see if the Banana Hunter can get it done with this scope.
As we get ourselves into it, it is going to be a bar hold, I do believe, from the Wolves here. So that is going to potentially allow for the Glaz to actually have some better play potential going into this round. Just to actually give some analysis on this for a moment here. Just because of the open nature of the site, that's where the Glaz might actually be able to hunt down a few targets if Wolves get unfortunate in their timing for crosses. So we'll see when all that comes to blows a bit later on into the round, of course, but there's a bit of an extension that needs to be cleared out first. Very much set up as if they were defending Jim, but obviously not the case because, as you can see, site's downstairs. So Oxygen still has to begin the process of clearing out the gym bedroom area as if it were the site. Wolves pretty much full commitment to that area of the map too, so this is going to be a bit of an awkward one for Oxygen to work through, mainly when you keep in mind, or especially when you keep in mind that this site is not played that often in NA.
I'm ready for Oxygen to light this candle, because all these smokes as well as the Dokkaebi here, I mean, and it looks like Fox is going to go for a hot drop with the DMR. He's going to smoke that hatch and drop right in Logi when the execute comes. So there's going to be a lot going on. Be ready for this, John. Oh, Logic Bomb.
Own call
vertical down low. Here come the smokes. Here come the plays. Here we go.
Foxy with some patience right now. He's going to wait for the distraction of the site take to deploy. Then he'll be able to safely, hopefully, get the drop back down into this hatch. Mowgli to get to the first bit of it, however. Newers goes down, but at the same time, the case successfully planted. So nothing gained, nothing truly lost here at this late phase.
He's still in the hatch?
Mm-hmm. Foxy still waiting. That's a big play that Oxygen are keeping in their pocket for when they need it, I do believe here. Sweater to be found out. Now he goes down vertical. The Glaz works. Like I said, the bigger crosses. This is the site where it's going to play out. And now Foxy commits to the drop. Ends up going over towards construction at the end of the day. Vertical claims a second on the Glaz as well here. Shinka, the fire back with 1. Puts it into a 1v2. Ends Vertical's rampage for this round. Foxy with the drop, though, has control over the situation. A beautiful execute from OXG to keep things flawless in this half. All right, there we go. That glass worked.
Good shit, you went crazy, man.
I've been convinced. I finally seen it. Even they're like, look, it worked. Wow. Like, I don't even think they had faith in it. But
Oxygen bringing a strategy to bear that they didn't consider would work, according to John. The glass, though, no, definitely.
Boosting my own argument.
Definitely a key portion of that, with all the smokes going out, nobody really wanting to pressure that at all. But I mean, past the glass, that was definitely the fun part of it. We really got to talk about Fox and his
absolutely.
match. That was disgusting. The patience of a saint from that position, because I can tell you, as soon as that case went down, I'd have been in the building.
Yep.
Straight up. I'd have been right in lodge. I'd have been dead in 2 seconds. Oh my! Waiting for that penultimate point where everything was going to be mattering at its utmost. Got max value out of that position. 5 perfect rounds from Oxygen. Wolves, don't take North America here. We're just a little bit different.
All right, well, North America looking to make a statement here after they counter out that bar hold from Wolves.
They had to put the 2 NA casters on this too, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
No bias here, possibly. Maybe.
Wolves with not much of an option at the end of the day. I don't believe they ever even went to cash and CCTV this half. So they're just going to go for a 3rd attempt down into the basement instead.
Indeed.
Where, once again, Oxygen has taken it with relative ease every single time so far. Wolves, what's going to be the change-up to potentially allow for them to finally yield some success and at least give them a 5-1 scoreline?
And I hate to circle back to this point, but the last time we were here, Sweater literally walked up a hallway.
And the first time we were here, Noors walked up a hallway and got 2 kills, so...
Oh man, when you put it that way, it seems just about as bad as I thought.
We're being a bit blunt with the point here, but
I mean, the point does stand. It is screaming.
Still a pretty sharp point, ultimately.
Yeah, indeed, it is screaming at you. It's right in your face. But I mean, Wolves, we gotta have something here. You can't go back the 3rd time and then mess it up in the same way. P4 is gonna go down to Noors. Noors, I think he just smoked him trying to move up potentially secret. I don't really know. It's going to be down a level here for sure. All the way at the back. Oh my, he got him through that top panel. That's disgusting. I love that angle on secret stairs. Something you always got to worry about, but P4, no head on his shoulders.
P4 doing some serious mental gymnastics right now, trying to figure out just how he got picked that early on. So unfortunate for him. Very nice, of course, though, for Oxygen to once again score this early on here. Finding a 5v4 just eases the kind of stress of making that descent into the basement and knowing now with full confidence that they theoretically can just throw one of their players away on entry. And as long as they get that trade back, they'll still be ahead by 1 kill. Just a process of dominoes going back and forth here. Knocking them down 1 by 1. They could theoretically just win the round on that now. And they may very well do it. Vertical with the entry yet again here, finding Rise just below the kitchen hatch. Now they've got a +2 advantage.
Constantly dwindling in numbers, and Foxay on an absolute tear when it comes to this offensive side, but you could say the same about the entirety of the Oxygen roster. Looking to have a perfect half here, set themselves up for possibly the easiest defensive side they've ever had on Clubhouse. And it starts now. Dream with the plant. Nade in. They have to prevent this from happening. Dream will be forced off. Bibu with a big moment. Can he get the kill? He can, but both of his teammates are dead, and so is he! It's a perfect half from Oxygen. 9 kills for Foxay.
This is a far cry from what we've already had happen throughout the course of this series. Needing to go the full distance to find our winner. Oxygen are slapping Wolves in the face right now. Not even giving them the opportunity to stand back up afterwards here. As Stokes said, the 6-0 lead established for Oxygen. Does Wolves have any fight left back in them? As they're only able to score 11 kills over the entirety of that first half.
That is very, very rough.
It's like just under 2 kills a round. So they slightly improved it from the last time we checked in.
Yeah. I mean, you know, quick math tells you 30 kills available overall, right? So only able to gather 1/3 of those.
It's crazy. How'd you do math that fast?
Addition.
That would take me like 2 minutes to do 5 times 6 on broadcasts like that.
What's 5 times 10? 21?
60.
Oh, well. It's actually 5 times 10 would be 50.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
Oh no, you got me. No, no. Usually it's me trolling John.
There's already like 3 people teeing up tweets like blue is stupid.
Oh well. hopefully Wolves are able to get away from their dumbfoundedness on the defensive end. Speaking of unintelligence so far. And honestly, it's not even been that. It's just been Oxygen constantly berating them. Like, these big kill moments Wolves have not been able to deal with. And, oh no, Newers, is he going to do it? He might fly out of this. Don't know if he had the audio on that. Might go out and check right. Wolves flying through this now. He's got Mowgli directly to his side. Nah, he's not feeling it.
Yeah, that's too bold. He doesn't have any intel to suggest he go out for it. Like you said, I think he missed the audio cue. There was a lot of noise masking him just as Mowgli walked by, so I think he missed his opportunity there. Just unfortunate the timing doesn't pay out for Oxygen. But hey, they've had plenty of those already go their way. I'm certain they can still try to control things even without that. Basement hold obviously up on deck for Oxygen here, and the Wolves already still taking some damage, probably not from Newers, but someone ended up taking some heat there as Rise on the Buck is already down to about 1/3 of his overall health pool.
2 minutes remaining here. Wolves have got to get this pressure train on. Skeleton Key in for Rise, and gonna have the hard breach, but Selma's and Thermite coming to bear. 2 nitro cells that could potentially spell the demise of one of these hard breachers if it's placed correctly. Rise gonna continue to break up a lot of the softer structure around the kitchen area, and the Wolves will try and clean up a little bit of the utility game before progressing forward.
The Newers dropped down now to about 1/3 of his HP as well. So Wolves successfully returning some damage, but none of it landing as of yet. As you can see, Newers still in a relatively safe position, tucked deep in the back of Church. Just a few little pecks going out between both teams here. Certainly see, Oxygen has been keen for the fight, looking at their health pools. Sweater, Dream, and Newers have taken a little bit from all these swings they've tried to go for, but now it's all going to come to blows here. Wolves primed for the execute, still with a minute to go on the clock as well, so plenty early on in the round here. Mowgli going to be trying to pinch things out in blue from the oil pit route, but obviously the Toxic Babe is delaying him. I imagine we're going to see another one chucked his way pretty quickly too. Never mind. Second one went out in a different part of the map, trying to deny main stairs presence instead. Foxy as well, beautifully done. No main stairs pressure from the Wolves, so he just wraps around, gets the nitro into Moto.
Oh no!
Now goes back for a second one. Foxy just can't escape him. P4 and Bibu to trade out 2. Still in it though, don't give up on him just yet. Bibu brought down low. Newers to pick up 1, that's all he'll get. As Shinka makes the push from Moto successfully to wrap around, trying to kill the half-bar player. They'll find that. Dream goes down. Wolves somehow fighting back in this one. A desperate round, but one that still might end up going their way. Vertical, though, coming forward with the denial. He'll be blinded out, won't be able to stop the plant from going down, and immediately he is locked out because of that flash timing. Shinka shuts it down, and the Wolves survive for at least one more round.
How scary was that? P4 lackadaisical on the main stairs pressure. Foxy allowed to get away with so much here. Finally, P4 gets something done in the hallway, able to assist his teammates, getting it down to the 2 versus 2. But, I mean, my God, how close does it have to be? Oxygen still with 5 opportunities to close this out. Long road ahead here for the Wolves.
Very, very long road. The most difficult one you could potentially be on, in fact. It's like a level 10 off-road trail here for Wolves. We'll see if they can make things work anyway for themselves by pulling off the full 0-6 comeback. Certainly a bit of a dream for the Wolves roster, but all the while they attempt to bring it back, Oxygen is going to be waiting in the wings with just 1 round needed. Oxygen, of course, not going to panic after losing that round. They still nearly won it. Only ended up dropping things because from the 2v2 onward, just couldn't realistically manage the gunfights, and their final player unfortunately had some very bad flash timing worked against them there that prevented the outright clutch in the 1v2. So just go for a rerun on that. Batten down some of the weak points and things in Oxygen's mind should go swimmingly now on the second attempt.
Man, Foxy 11-2-0 right now. Oxygen gonna send it back to the basement. Wolves going about things very similar fashion to what we'd seen. The Skeleton Key back for Rise. Rip up this floor. Get this hard breach dealt with. Exact same lineup practically from the Wolves. Shinka gonna be managing the Thatcher this time around. Does have the case at his disposal. Fast acting as Mowgli feels the pressure. break things down here for Secret Stairs. That's going to force Oxygen back just a tad bit. The drone will double check things and allow him the info, the benefit of knowledge to his path forward. EMP is out now. Look at the hatches here. And Wolves will make quick work of processing through these top 2 floors of Clubhouse.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Hatches have been popped. Wolves ready yet again to make their descent. Still apparently one more hatch to go though. As we see the blue one being maneuvered towards the kitchen as well. So apparently still a bit more work to do. We'd heard them pop off a little bit earlier on, but apparently not the case. Wolves still on timer though, as far as I'm concerned. Make sure that they continue moving along with things in good fashion. Mowgli already starting to pop back down towards blue, see if he can bait out any of the presence from Oxygen, but they're not going to respond to that. They're not going to respect that. As they continue to wait things out and definitely put a lot more emphasis on the counter pressure towards the main stairs router. That's where Wolves are also throwing the heft of their weight currently.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Well, Oxygen bringing things back to what we had seen earlier in this series, where Redeemer was touching upon the fact that Wolves not too hot when it comes to these low timers. If they can keep their utility up, there's a good chance that they can take the round. We'll see if that comes to bear once again. Big shots here, big decisions to be made. Rise, a lot of damage off onto him. He knows where Dream is. Dream, though, he can't win out the fight. Another shot, though, it'll be Vertical that swings back through, and he'll be able to seal the deal, at least for Moto. Continue to apply those smokes towards the bottom of main. Legion might be an ill-advised peek here, but some warning shots, and Sweater will collect Bibu. It's the hatch player there that Sweater has to worry about. Shinka trying to work his way in. He'll be able to actually take out the blue player. P4 will go down as well. And I mean, this battle is everywhere, but it's done. Oxygen will shut down the Wolves. Fox A especially, the Predator here today.
7-1 is the final map scoreline. It was one heck of a game on our first 2 maps. Like we said, you need to go nearly the full distance to it. Ultimately, though, we saw the bounce back. Both teams taking each other's map picks away. OXG to start us off by stealing away the Wolves' pick, and Wolves respond with a bit of a surprise, too, as they were 0-2 on that map so far in this series by winning things out for the first time here on Oregon. But unfortunately, did not have the fight left in them for Clubhouse. Oxygen dominates on map number 3, and as such will be able to continue their journey in the upper bracket. Wolves, for their fans at home, mind you, they're not out yet. They're still in play here, but they have now been dropped into the lower bracket.
Yeah, going down to join some of our other lower bracket teams, but it does mean that their spare life has been spent, and it's at the hands of Oxygen. An incredible showcase from them, and very excited to see what is in the cards for them in their future of this tournament. This has been the best showing that we've had from them at a major in quite some time.
And that's the big question now for Oxygen. How far can they go? How long can they push this emphasis onwards? As we've been seeing arguably one of their best tournaments in almost like a year or two for me at this point. They've always had such an unfortunate end to that run, so we're going to have to see if they can finally get over that curse that seems to have affected them, especially here at SI for some reason, and maybe, just maybe, end up lifting the hammer at the end of the tournament.
You know, the last time that Fox A was able to play in front of a crowd at the Six Invitational was when he played for Reciprocity with Mark the Shark and Retro.
And that curse, like, that goes back to them, too, if you remember how they were eliminated from that event, things like that.
They had a huge game. Yeah, they had a huge game, but then they went up to play against G2, and we all know how that went. So, not too hot, unfortunately enough. But, ladies and gents, that's going to be it for the Oxygen matchup to start the day. We're going to send you to a quick break, and we'll be back with the Analyst Desk.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We're live from beautiful Montreal. It's SI 2023, and victorious are our North American team. OXG continue and roll over Wolves, especially as we saw in Map 3. So hello, welcome back. We got James and Mandy to ask questions to our guest interviewee, Foxe. Hello, Davide, how are you?
Doing pretty good, I'd say so myself. How are you?
It's all right. It's been a while since we've had you on the desk with us, so I'm excited for it. Last time was exciting, to say the least.
To say the least, yeah. The outfits I had when I was on the desk.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. I got good at Siege, I guess.
Yeah, okay. James, do you have any questions for our guest?
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope that you bring the all the swag for your upcoming upper bracket final. You look pretty calm for a guy who's just qualified for a huge match. And perhaps that comes from the fact that the last map was a little bit more chill than you expected. What on earth happened on Clubhouse 6 rounds in a row?
We knew that if we brought it to the third map, it would probably be our win. Honestly, we thought we'd probably win Oregon, though, instead of Chalet, because Chalet was their map pick. But we knew once we got to Clubhouse, we're very comfortable on the attack, and we feel like teams that are a little more passive on the Clubhouse just don't do well against our attacks, our aggression. So I expect whatever team to play next, if we go to that map, they'll probably switch it up from, instead of this team and M&M, they did kind of the same thing. So, or Heroic, not M&M, my bad. But yeah, I mean, once we knew we got there, we knew that if we just followed our game plan and got their picks and just isolated off the roamers, if they were roaming, we'd be fine.
Yeah, so my question is actually about that roam clear. You've got a pretty powerful front line. You've got New as a sweater on the front line. You yourself, you're a very vocal figure. You're also the flex player too, so you like to get involved in those early to mid round clears. I was wondering what it's like. What's that workflow like? Getting them coordinated, being in the thick of it all. Could you talk us through it a little bit?
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, I'm a very hard IGL. I'm very hard on my team and where they go, and especially during practice, I'm not afraid to, I guess, rip into them because players need to know not to do something that's stupid. Okay. Especially since there's a big thing we've been focusing on is after we get the first pick against these slow teams to not just immediately give it away. Yeah. So at least on Clubhouse, I'm able to be around with my entries a little more and kind of move them to a T exactly what I want them to do. And we're very fluid on the map. We're very comfortable. We had a lot of confidence going into map 3. And the workload is a lot. I feel like sometimes I have to do so much and still be able to drone and everything. But we try to manage, and I have great entries. It's very easy when you could just say, all right, go kill, and yeah. Runs down blue and kills 3 people. So, it's a comfortable team to lead.
Did the zero ban impact you on Chalet? Because it looked like in the first few rounds on your attack, things were a bit shaky.
Not really. Chalet's not really that much of a map where you can flank too much. It's kind of like Cafe where the stairs are locked down a majority of the time. Especially with the zero ban, they weren't flanking at all, and we knew they weren't a team to do that necessarily. Unlike BDS, they have Licky, I don't know how to say his name.
Licky fuck.
Yeah. So they got that guy who's really good at flanking. But as for the other players on I forgot that Wolves. Wolves, yeah. As for the other players on Wolves, they're a lot more passive and they rely on the utility clear. So the zero didn't really impact us. We just kind of used it as a play to run other flank watch operators. So if anything, it just made us more comfortable.
You messed up 3 European teams. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's kind of rough. I was going to call them Vitality. It's just.
I'm sure they're happy where they are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I mean, it's not supposed to be a diss or nothing.
No.
I'm just so used to seeing them in the yellow, so just instantly. Yeah, my bad. I'm gonna get crucified now on Twitter, huh?
No.
No?
No, we've had enough people crucified on Twitter. We had Lycan on yesterday. That was so. Yeah. Don't worry.
I love the cookies Lycan beef right now.
Anyways, Fox, you still don't know who you face off against in the upper bracket final. You got Koi and W7N. Who do you think it's best for you to play against?
Best for us doesn't really matter. I think both teams are great and they both bring kind of similar but different play styles depending on the map. I'm very excited to see them both match up because Koi has looked really strong and so has W7M. So I don't know, we'll have to see.
You've been this far at the Invitational before. Remember the reciprocity days for getting knocked out by G2?
Oh yeah, back when G2 was a monster, but we never secured top 3. We got knocked out in semifinals, so we were kind of top 4, top 3. I call it third, but now we're officially top 3. So yeah, I don't know, very proud of my team. The obstacles we've been able to climb over, the comebacks we've been able to do is just, yeah, I don't know, just unlike any team I've been on before, so.
There you go, Fox. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Mandy and James, for asking the questions. And good luck later. You'll have some time to rest up, my friend. Though, now let's take a look at the analysis part of our desk. First up, map 1 for the series, Chalet, 8-6 for OXG against Wolves. Going to OT, push to the edge. Still, James, our North American team, goes up.
Yeah, look, genuinely, I was impressed that OXG was able to bring it back. They actually lost the first rounds in a row on their attacking timeout. You mentioned the 0 ban. Now, Fox didn't actually seem to think it had a huge impact, but that's not really what Redeemer was saying in the tactical timeout they took before round 4. They were saying things like, there's not enough drones to watch flanks. Our drone economy is ours, excuse my French. And we saw so many good plays from Wolves and so many good little tactics that they used to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and one of those tactics that they were able to use was that combination of the Solace and active intel, which is what I'm going to go through here on the Telestrator. Wolves are super good at using that. I'm going to roll this clip just here to see exactly how Wolves are able to use this active intel to their advantage. To set the scene, we've got Oxygen. They're looking for a roam clear. They're starting out on the basement, and they're going to go all the way up into the top floor to eventually hit the bomb side. So this wall's just going open now inside the basement, but on the other side is P4, who is playing said Solace. I'm just going to pause here to see exactly what is going on here. We've got P4, who's got his gadget active, and he's just seen that they have droned out inside of small garage. At this point, if you're P4, you're probably saying, okay, team, they're going to clear from the basement going up. And he's specifically saying that to Mowgli, who's just at the top of that blue stairs and can come down and help him. I'm going to keep rolling the clip to see exactly what goes down, because P4 here goes, all right, I'm going to try and evade this drone, not quite realizing that the breach has actually already been opened. Thankfully, a little earlier on, he was just able to cool down Mowgli off the back of that Solace intel, and together they're able to combine forces and take down Newers. I'm going to keep rolling it ahead to see what Oxygen do to respond. So we've got Mowgli, who's still trying to fight this breach, but P4 has actually been wallbanged from the breach. Sweater instead is looking to try and collect that refrag, and I'll pause it exactly here because there's quite a little bit going on inside of this frame. Got Sweater down here, trying to look to refrag Mowgli, who's just behind his little site down there. We've also got Foxay as well, who's trying to join forces with Sweater to take him down. Now, what's going on? Foxay doesn't realize he's got Shinka right behind him at the top of the west main stairs, who's joining forces with Rise, who's on that yokai drone and has actually got info on Foxay in this position. You can actually see Rise on his drone in the top of this frame right there. And what's going to happen here is that Foxay is going to be caught away from this 2 versus 1, and it's going to pull him out from this roam clear position. So we've got Mowgli, he's inside blue. Sweater's just taking down P4, who was downed a little bit earlier from the breach. And Foxay, we can see right there, there's that yokai and Shinka to follow up through. Even though that flash has gone out, I'm just going to pause this clip right here to see. You can see in the background there, Mowgli pretty much completely on his own, right? Mowgli's there on his own, and he's going to be taking that fight with the player that's just behind that line of sight in a 1-on-1 rather than in a 2-on-1 instead. I'm going to keep playing it out to see exactly what goes down. Got Shinka, yep, he's been flashed out. Mowgli decides to go sicko mode and takes him down with the 1 dig. But by the time that the trade tries to come through, Dream is there way too late. And there it is, Fox, they completely concussed out of that 2-on-1. And that's the reason why Wolves are so good on their defending half inside of Chalet, because they are able to combine things like the Solace and that yokai, all the active intel, to inform that mid-round roam clear.
Yeah, really interesting to me how Wolves started so strong on their defense of Chalet, using a lot of not only info denial in the Solace, but the information gathering in the Yokais and the Valkyrie, and overall enabling a really aggressive playstyle, which is exactly what Foxay talked about. When it came to map 3, he said that teams that are more passive, like the way Wolves played in map 3, Oxygen relish that opportunity and they will storm through and take the advantage. And that's what we saw didn't work for map 1, because Wolves was so much more competent at playing that aggressive play style. And honestly, credit to OXG for bringing it back on that map, because Wolves were in top form.
Well, map 2, you're talking about bringing it back. It all went down on a classic map in Oregon, one that pretty much all teams are familiar with, especially Wolves. 7-4 victory for them, starting off in the defense, really helped out their momentum, Andy.
Look, to be honest, looking at this one, Oregon was profoundly ordinary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Both teams just played Oregon the way it was meant to be played out. None of them went for this like crazy playmaking. We didn't see any of the combination of that that Solace yokai like what we saw on Chalet. None of that like mid-round shenanigans. It was kind of just Oregon. But I think what really pushed it over the edge was that Wolves were able to collect in some super good late round executes. They were able to just get the bomb into the bomb site and the plant down. That was really what tipped them over the edge to collect that map.
Yeah, I was super impressed by Wolves on this map, and in particular, Mowgli had a fantastic game here. Over the course of the series, he was very hot and cold on his entries, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But OXG, you know, they're no slouches, and also something that Foxer mentioned in the interview is how confident OXG are in their entry players, and Newers, as we can see, quite negative on the entry in this game, 1 and 4, which is a far cry from what we expect from the highest rated player in the tournament.
We'll move on to our final map, Clubhouse, where things started out as a disaster for Wolves. It only kept spiraling out of control from that moment. 6 rounds on the attack on Club for OXG. That is impressive.
Yeah, I genuinely would love to be able to tell you what went down this map, but it was just like, it was a blitz. It was over in a flash, and that was why I asked Foxay about this map in the interview, because I was like, man, how on earth do you go up 6-0 on your attacking side? He put it that that they were just so aggressive, and that is exactly what happened in the server. Even with these really nice Azami setups in Church here, you can see that there's no stress at all for OXG breaking through that. We even had a Glaz round with this bar execute, which worked to perfection. Foxay had a huge impact from playing upstairs on the hatch. The macro, the micro, they just land everything. They nail it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think that in general, Oxygen, they have a really great early game. They have a very, very strong front line, which is exactly what I asked from Foxay. Foxay, I liked his response being really in the thick of it as the IGL and also as the flex player. I think it really enables them through that early to mid round to make waves in the server, especially against a team like Wolves, who are sort of very disciplined. They like to do what they want to do, and they sort of just stick to their macro strategy. I think it's really important to have that strong front lane to take down any reservoirs of utility, get through any chokes. That's the kind of entry play that you need against a macro style team like Wolves.
Then who was our MVP for this matchup? Wondering. And numbers, do we have them? Put them up on the screen for everybody to see. Come on, come on. There it is. You can tell feathers. Hey, it's Noyers. There it is. 137 rating. Pretty darn good. Plus 16 on the KD. And if, I mean, yeah, you said map 2 was a bit tough on the entry, James, but came out at the end.
Yeah, man, this guy is just so consistent. Like I was saying before, top-rated player in the tournament, the most kills per round in the entire tournament, and he loves his opening engagements as well. Over the course of the series, he was, of course, positive, despite a bit of a rough map too. But, I mean, this guy is just a machine, and I think when you've got that solid backline of players like Foxay, so much experience droning him ahead, Newers, he's got the confidence. He's a young gunner, right? They're all filled with confidence, sometimes overconfidence, but I think Newers feels very validated in his self-assuredness this event with how well he has performed.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. This guy is a bit of a zoomer, all right? He's a bit of a young gunner. He's taken down this old guard in Wolves now, and really, it was honestly, to me, it was like the Newers Mowgli duel throughout the entire series, right? Because a lot of these rounds that tipped over the edge, especially the early game, was really, can he take down the roamer of Mowgli? Can Mowgli shut down Newers? It just felt like the very volatile part of the round that really propelled Oxygen to take it out in the end.
Maybe that was a redeeming factor for Wolves, right? Having Mowgli that's able to live through the jungle, as they would say.
It's true. Now we actually, I counted up how many opening engagements Mowgli was in this series, and it was a lot.
Can you put it in the graphic for us?
Well, we actually have already.
What? He just did it right now.
So here's a package where we'll see just how many opening engagements Mowgli was in. He was just constantly on the offensive the whole match long. And the thing is, he was very hot and cold. So between the first map, you'll see he actually was the opening death 5 times. He didn't get a single opening kill, completely flipped on its head in the second map. In the third map, he was pretty quiet overall. But another thing to keep in mind is just how many times there's been the Yana bans against this team at SI. It's 8 times so far, and they've only won 3 of those maps so far. So often we talk to Mowgli and we're like, man, they're banning your Yana, and we kind of at the start made jokes about it, not really mattering because he just picks Ashe, or in this case, he played quite a bit of IQ, and eventually on the knock, he had a lot of success. But I think it does kind of affect him a little bit. Like, being an entry player, it's so dependent on being absolutely 100% comfortable in the gun you're playing. And I know that sounds like I'm making a big deal out of it, but it is the truth. It's why players like Shaiko play the same operator literally every round. They know that recoil pattern to perfection. And Mowgli's had to bounce around a bit, and I think that might contribute to his inconsistency.
All right, friends, thank you very much. Let's recap our bracket and what it looks like now with this first game out of 4 completed today. By the way, today is a rolling schedule. When we're done with one game, we're getting ready for the next one, unlike we've had the entirety of our past, I guess, 1.5 weeks. You'll see that we still have Koi W7M, that'll be coming up later, M80 versus G2, and Astralis versus BDS. This is the upper bracket right now, so even if you lose here, it's okay. You're not knocked out. You're not eliminated from the Invitational. Wolves are down in the lower bracket. It will be fine. They are confirmed to be playing on the main stage on a Friday. OXG advanced. They are 1 game win away from the grand final happening this Sunday at the Invitational. We'll see who they get to play against between Koi and W7M, and that's a question that our analysts will be answering, but in just a bit. James, Mandy, thank you so very much. All of you at home, we love you very much. We'll be back in just a bit for W7M versus Koi.